folks, sorry for the delay. It's been one of those evenings, and I'm going to turn off the Wi-Fi on my phone because it keeps giving me updates from other things, and I'm just going to put airplane mode on. Yeah, we're at the old time of 9 p.m. UK time, but as I've stated before, when it's, time off time for me, we go a little bit old school and go back to a time where, we get to relax a little bit more. The review for Spider-Man 2 has finally uploaded, but what people will see in this screening, it won't be completely the same as the version that goes fully uploaded tomorrow, and that's only because a couple of lower thirds were a little bit inaccurate. But, and I'll also say for posterity, later, don't watch this with the headphones on, because I'll say this as brief and as to the point as I'm able to. There was an incident the other night where I was filming, and I don't know if someone was yelling a few doors down because of what I was saying, or how loudly I was saying it. So for all I know, could have been something completely coincidental. But as a result, I had to try to adopt a more indoor voice, which has been a problem for me for about the better part of all my life. Oni can attest to that, which Kit will be like, oh, I could tell you stories.
Yes, I can.
And the irony, he tells me to lower my voice, and I'm like, you first, sir. So I'm working on a way of finding middle ground where I can have the audio where it has clarity, and I don't have to raise my voice too much. And I actually went back to look at the raw footage for my review for Jurassic Park 3 last June, and there's a little something I found. The camera was probably no more than just over a foot away, and I noticed that it was the same distance away from me as Nostalgia Critic's camera was to him when he films. So what I'm going to do is find a means of bringing the camera as close as possible without it just being my nose on screen, which I don't really want to be in competition with Triple H to see who has the biggest honker. Which, by the way, he would win hands down if it was just a competition with him and Dumbo. Let's see if I can find, like I say, the means to be as close as possible without being intrusive and bring the gain down on the microphone. I think we'll finally have a balance. But it's like anything, it's always a work in progress. So yeah, other than that, let's get on with tonight. And as we normally do with these things, we start off with wrestling material. And there's Raiden thinking, oh, bruh, I just got here.
No.
Roman Reigns mentions The Rock after defending his undisputed title in London. Reigns successfully defended his title against Drew McIntyre in both London and Paris as part of WWE's latest European tour. However, our particular moment from his post-match promo in London has caught the attention of wrestling fans online. Reigns addressed the crowd out inside the O2 Arena and briefly mentioned The Rock by saying, "The Rock can get it too." Reigns has asked numerous times about a dream match with the People's Champ in interviews, but often declines to mention them on TV. Rock recently dropped a hint about Reigns during an episode of Young Rock, which has a child actor playing a young Reigns trying to wrestle the 1996 version of Johnson. Rock declined, saying a big match can only happen at WrestleMania. And for context, around that time, Roman saying suffering succotash would be the only time it would be, acceptable and appropriate for his age demographic at that time. Rock talked about the possibility of a return last November in an interview with Comic Book, saying he wouldn't be interested in another championship run like his 2013 reign. I don't know if I have another title run in me. Really, just ask Ric Flair. And he was the same age as you when he came back to WWE back in 2001, and he had 2 tag team titles and 1 intercontinental title reign, and he was in his mid-50s. No excuse, Rock. Just saying. I think possibly, there might be another match down the road. It would have to make sense. It seems like Roman, I'm very close with Roman because obviously we talk all about this all the time, and I continue to encourage him to keep doing your thing, keep sharpening those skills. I think he's doing a great job of his promo. His execution, his in-ring work, it all continues to improve and grow. And that's always the best part. I think about that world of professional wrestling is that when someone gets anointed and given the ball to run, they either score a touchdown with it or they don't. But then some not only score a touchdown with it, but then they begin to change the way the game is played. And in Roman's case, he's slowly doing that. Yeah, he's become boring, repetitive, and monotonous. Acknowledge me. Okay, I acknowledge you. You're a jerk and you're boring. And you could start to read the tea leaves. And again, I'm very, very proud of him. I like everything that he's doing. I like everything that the Usos are doing. The Usos actually have personality. I like what they're doing together, and we'll see down the road. Okay. A WWE match between Rock and Roman. Hey, Sean, how you doing? Here's my 2 cents. I think there should be some type of confrontation. I disagree with Rock wholeheartedly, saying he can't do another title run. Rock, if you could be in the ring in a limited capacity for 2 months, like you did, for 3 months, like you did in 2013, I think you can more than handle one more title reign, and then you could say you've been WWF and WWE champion, you have been WCW champion. Only's listening. I hate it when he does that. And you could say that you are Universal champion. How many WWE superstars can say they've done that? I mean, look at Goldberg. He's the only WWE Hall of Famer that is WCW, World Heavyweight, and Universal Champion. And it's his weirdest thing. I know some people feel differently about this. It would have been nice if Big Show had hung around just a little longer, because if he'd won the Universal title, he would have been the only man to have been WCW, ECW, WWE, World Heavyweight, and Universal Champion. And he could actually rub it into Booker's face and say, I'm a five category world champion. And speaking of Booker, it's always kind of rubbed me the wrong way, the fact he never got a WWE title run. I mean, he'd been World Heavyweight Champion within his run as King Booker, which I cringe at today. He had that one reign as Intercontinental Champion, which he unfortunately had to vacate because of a back injury, so... And he got royally screwed over way before that. Especially the way how WrestleMania 19 turned out. Ugh. Those promos with Triple H saying, do a little dance. It's just like... It's interesting how you can get a promo to be racist without ever dropping a single derogatory slur. Again, they would never write that promo today. They might say someone's an idiot, but that, as we've discussed so many times before, you can call somebody an idiot of any ethnicity, and that's just attacking somebody's character, intelligence, and decision making. So, as weird as this sounds, if they do a Roman Rock confrontation or Roman gets rocked, I'd actually like to see The Rock go over because Roman has had that belt since late summer 2020, and who better than The Rock to do it? I think it's a little bit different the way Rock got put over CM Punk, because yes, CM Punk was being an obnoxious heel at that time, but with Roman, he's just gotten so complacent, repetitive, and boring, whereas Punk, face, heel, tweener, he's always entertaining. He's always lampshading stuff, whereas with Roman, it's just like, can someone get the stick and just yank him off stage because he's boring now? I mean, let's put it this way. Oni, with no script and material, it'd be like, okay, you're Universal Champion, go out and win the crowd. What? Because he wouldn't say, acknowledge me. It's like, I'm here to wrestle. Who do I have to go? Who do I have to beat down? And it's just like, quick promo, get on with it. But Roman hasn't wrestled on Raw or SmackDown in months. And it's just boring now. I mean, I get it. When Hogan came back in 2002 and 2003 respectively, he wrestled very little because, here's the thing. With some people, age is literally just a number and they can keep going and going. I mean, look at Goldust when he came back in 2013 and he was wrestling like he was 20 years younger. But you get some people, like Hogan, they've notched up a lot of miles on the clock. And Flair, I think Flair is another exception to the rule. I mean, yeah, he had to modify his style, but he was able to wrestle on a somewhat weekly basis. Roman hasn't done that, and it's just like, dude, you're like maybe mid to late 30s? Come on, you have no excuse. Austin, after he had spinal surgery, was wrestling on a weekly basis. Obviously, once he returned and what have you, but
yeah,
Roman has no
and
excuse.
him recently in WrestleMania, Austin didn't even look gassed either.
Well, to be fair, Austin has continued to work out because we've seen him with a beer belly before. I mean, look at Backlash 2000. I mean, I know black is a slimming color, so it hides it, but you could see when he was walking down with the steel chair and when he's setting up for a chair shot to someone's head, you see the camera focusing on his abdomen. It's just like, Austin, I know you've been, slowly healing, but lay off them hot dogs, them burgers. I know he was, I know he's very fond of enchiladas as well.
Just don't tell him to lay off the beer because he will kill you.
Like, imagine a doctor's meeting. Well, Mr. Austin, we've narrowed down the things that you need to tone down on, not cut out, whilst you're healing from next surgery. All right. You need to tone back from 3 hot dogs a day to 3 hot dogs a week. Imagine like him sort of like grudgingly, okay. 4 burgers a day to 4 burgers a week. Okay. Maybe a little bit of water with some flavor. Okay. And finally, beer. What? You like that?
Like, the hell did you say, boy?
It'd be like that little neck twitch. You know, like that little neck twitch that Jim Carrey did in Me, Myself, and Irene when he goes from Charlie to Hank. It's like,
oh no!
I was upset. I was obsessed with that movie.
Love that movie.
Me, Myself, and Irene.
That movie goes to places. Let me tell you that right now.
Well, it's the Farrelly brothers, so you know.
Yeah.
The one that gets me laughing is where you can hear you can hear Charlie when you can see Charlie's boys speaking in German, but then they put the subtitles.
Oh my god!
Oh no! No!
Or
Dare
before
I
that,
even
they did something with a chicken.
We don't talk about that.
Oh no!
We don't
No!
talk
No!
about
No!
that.
No! Don't talk about the chicken. Oh no! No!
You could say there was foul play going on.
Oh God! Oh,
Ah!
Steve, you have no idea.
Oh God! We don't talk about chickens.
And on
Oh
that one,
no!
pluck off. But like I say, let's just say for WrestleMania 39, next year, it is the WWE Undisputed Championship. I'm not adding Universal to that because it's mouthy enough already. Let's just say we do get Rock versus Roman. Honestly, I think Rock should put Roman down. And for the simple reason is, it's like, yeah, you know, when Roman finally got his hands on the Universal title, yeah, circumstances forced him to vacate, and it took him that long to get the Universal title back. And if he had had the reign for say 6 months, I would have said okay. But it's nearly been 2 years, and I know we talked about this before. Yes, some wrestlers should have a reasonable length with the title, because there were times where Triple H, Rock, and Austin maybe didn't have the belt as long as they should have. But in all honesty, I think an average, decent title reign... Alright, if we look at Steve Austin, the average title reign he had back in the day would probably be... I'll say no more than 4 to 5 months. Because that was ample. Although in 99 they were hot potatoing that WWE title. I mean, it was 3 title change. There was something like 4 to 5 title changes between Mankind and Rock, then Rock to Austin to Taker at a pay-per-view that's no longer available with Over the Limit 99, and then Taker back to Austin, then Austin to Mankind, and then the night after it's Mankind to Triple H. A couple of weeks later it's Triple H to McMahon, titles vacated, Triple H gets the belt again, then it's Triple H to Big Show. So we saw something like, I don't know, 11 title changes that year. Whereas in 2003 we were begging for multiple title changes, especially as far as Triple H and Brock were concerned.
To be fair, in that year, in the beginning was Angle, then Lesnar, then Angle, then Lesnar. But if I'm being honest with you, with SmackDown, you didn't mind it because match-wise, you always come back for more with those two. When it came to Triple H, those are brutal times.
It's almost like, and I will try to say this as discreetly, yet you guys will get the hint. If you imagine, like, you wake up one morning, Steph wakes up with a smile on her face and he goes, Daddy, can Triple H have a jobber match where they have to lay down and he gets the belt for 7 months? Sure, Steph, what are you going to do? I promise not to do any mic work. Just for that, I will let Triple H have the belt for 11 months. And there's Lid probably looking up to the sky praying, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Where Raid is just like, I prefer not to see Stephanie on screen, full stop.
Well, let's be honest. Well, 2003 Steph, that's another story.
All I can say with 2003 Steph is, how you doing? And I still cannot believe to this day they let Cena do that scene.
Oh god.
Yeah.
That would not happen today. Even if it was TV-14, it wouldn't happen.
Dare I even ask? And I have a feeling I may regret asking that question.
Fortunately.
Oh.
Yes. And
Yeah.
at that particular point, Cena was still heel, but because he was, I want to say, 7 to 8 months into the rap gimmick, he was actually starting to get over with people. And at that particular point, because I was watching this on like Sky Sports at like 3 in the morning, because it was the only way I was able to watch wrestling, because my dad doesn't get it, and that's fine. It's not for him to get. But I'm like watching it at 3 o'clock in the morning with my headset on, and for that one moment, I'll be like, I wouldn't mind being John Cena. Because say what we will about the character, I don't know so much the person of Stephanie McMahon, because you hear things, but do you really know? You know? But with the character, when she's face, she, she is tolerable, and there's sometimes where you're like, you know what, you're okay. When she's heel, I'm like, okay, earplugs in. But in 2003, I just look at her and I'm like, you're gorgeous. And I think the way her character was represented in her time as SmackDown GM, I'm like, they finally got her balanced. She's not being preachy. She's just trying to entertain. She puts her foot down. But you can see, in particular, like with the Zach Gowen storyline, she actually showed she can actually show the character to have some compassion. So, and also some of her ring outfits that year. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Things that I don't agree with from that year. Number one, her facing the A Train twice.
Yeah, no.
And the third, No Mercy 2003, an I Quit father-daughter match.
Oh god.
Wait.
The build-up was
What?
so ass. Oh my god. That fake crying had me like, oh my lord.
Oh god, it was kind of cringy as hell.
I'm like, oh my god, I can't take this shit seriously.
Although, it gave us probably one of the best sound bites ever from old Viddy. I will strike down the face of defiance. And I don't know what it is. He is so hammy when he goes to those places, when you can see his face turning bright red. I'm just like,
Oh lord, that's the most scary.
It makes him sound like a comic, like a cartoon character.
he may as well be.
May as well be, bro.
You should see the moment in October of 2007 where I think the video is called Triple H Tries to Console Looney McMahon. I don't know what Vince was thinking at that particular time, but you hear him say this in exact tone. I hope something bad happens tonight. It's him versus you. And I'm like,
Yeah. This was pretty much after his do-rag phase.
Oh god,
We
the
do
do-rag
not-
phase.
I feel like
Remember? Yeah, when he had the ECW title. Okay. Oh my god, I go back to that and I die laughing nowadays.
I don't wanna.
I feel like I feel like Shawn Michaels, where he's walking up to Cena because he's looking to get another title match. He looks over to Vinny, looks back to Cena, and he's like looking over to Vinny, just like, "What is wrong with you, man?" For me, and I feel like I'm kind of reflecting RVD's comments after Backlash '07. It's got to be like the biggest slap in the face to ECW when you have Vince McMahon as the ECW champion. If it had been CM Punk or any of the other current superstars of that time, like going over from, say, SmackDown to ECW and they get the belt, like John Morrison did, or as he was at the time, Johnny Nitro, then it's fine. But Vinny? That'd have been like Vince McMahon showing up on Monday Nitro and winning the belt from Hogan, although Vinny would have probably taken a little bit of pleasure from that. Like, hey, Turner, I'm taking your title.
Or showing up at a Black Family barbecue with a do-rag on.
I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot flagpole.
Hey, man. Listen. Just seeing that is a sight to behold.
I mean, that would probably look as inappropriate as me showing up to Lids and Oni's place with me with a glued-on stereotypical Mexican mustache and having, is it the sombrero? That's the hat? Or am I thinking of something else?
Yeah, sombrero's the hat. Yeah. Sorry, I had to put myself on mute. Things are happening in the background.
I shall not ask. That'd be like me showing up like that to Lydia. Probably goes, "Hola, señorita Lydia." I'd be like, "MJ, no, the hell you don't."
I'll be like, no, please don't.
Exactly. So, like
Now,
I said,
Especially if you show up wearing a sombrero, wearing a sarape, riding a donkey. No, you'll be like getting the door slammed in your face.
Now with Oni, you would have too much fun. You would wear overalls with a straw hat and a straw on your mouth, and you would have a milk jug.
oh my gosh.
Oh,
Tell me I'm wrong, MJ. You would do that.
whereas with me, I'd probably come over dressed up as Majin Maguro from the Yakuza series.
Ah, yes.
Oh, John.
He's like, oh god, Lord, no.
Or worse, I'd dress up as Larry the Cable Guy.
Like I say, that this thing's dragged on too long. Like I say, I'm saying Roman to take an L for The Rock because Roman has needed to take this for the longest amount of time, and at the moment, the only people that I could have seen dethroning Mr. Reigns, possibly Brock, because, Roman was due one from him. Probably Cody, because, it is Cody's time to step up. Possibly Orton. But it's one of those situations, it's like, you're all out of cards and you have one ace up the sleeve. It may as well be The Rock. Raiden, your thoughts?
Look, I think I already said it last week. No one's gonna beat that guy until WrestleMania next year. If it's Rock, whatever. The way I see this happening, if he wins, he would vacate the belt. You know what I mean? That it's better to have someone else take that instead of just having another, old school versus new school casual stuff that WWE likes to do. That's the way I see it. You know, that's all. That's all I'll say. Because when it comes to Roman nowadays, I tend to not say nothing until not. I tend to say nothing.
Fair enough. To our own women's champion, Madam President. What do you think? Do you think there will be?
Go ahead.
What do you think?
Continue
Do you think it'll be? Do you think the match will ever happen? If you do, which way do you think it'll go?
Honestly, if I want someone to just at least kick Roman's ass. I'm sorry. I'm getting really sick and tired with this whole 600 some odd day title reign. It's like it was fine for the era, the 80s and all that, but not now. It's just really tiresome.
Yeah. I mean,
but again, I honestly, if Brock doesn't want to hold a belt, it's just going to be another person laid out for Roman to just destroy again, and it's getting a little annoying. But if this match does happen again, I could see Roman winning again because they got to build up Roman because whatever.
I mean,
I honestly think that he should drop the belt and have just him and The Rock just be a grudge match. It's like maybe The Rock cost him the belt, and it's like, I don't know. It's like, again, The Rock could say that like you may be the head of the table, but I'm the real tribal chief, and go from there.
I mean, you make a fair. You make a fair point. It's not like yesteryear where you didn't have as many pay-per-views and you didn't have as many weekly TV shows. Doesn't have to be WWE. It could have been the NWA at the time. I do feel like there does need to be a balance whereby the title reigns are not so short that you don't get to appreciate their time as champion, but at the same time, it's not so prolonged to the point where even fans be like, "Look, dude, can you drop the belt for now?" I mean, it was great when CM Punk had the belt for as long as he did, because let's be fair, he was owed that for all that he'd done. But it's as you say, if it was 600 days of combined reigns as a world champion, I'd say, okay, that's fine. But one reign, it's like, come on, we're sick of this now.
Exactly.
Alrighty. Let's.
MJ, can I bring something up real quick?
Sure.
Because again, I want to bring up a topic. The audacity of YouTube's copyright system. Because I have a certain someone who has a bit of a complaint here.
Oh dear.
Hey.
What? I'm playing Pokemon. What do you want?
Get in here. We're going to talk about YouTube being stupid.
What?
Oh dear.
Oh dear God, no.
Something happened. He will tell you. Okay. He's playing Let's Go Pikachu right now because I got it now. And
quick question: is this to do with Spectacular Sparky?
No, it has to do with another premiere he's doing. But again, I'll let him explain because Spectacular Sparky actually went through and it's actually premiering right now.
That is a
If
great.
anybody wants to watch it, go ahead. It's on OnlyFans. Okay. We were talking about YouTube's broken copyright system. You mean
to tell me when I was uploading Super Mario Odyssey on stream for next Sunday and everything like that, and then some jackass named Latin Audio Prof copyright claimed it?
What?
Wait, what?
He got copyright claimed.
By
Lord.
Okay, let me explain. This morning, I was letting everything go through. I was going to have a VOD ready for next Sunday because I want to try to start doing VOD Sundays, try and get my old streams I've done over to YouTube for new audience.
Right.
And I had a copyright claim on the premiere that hadn't even happened yet. That was Super Mario Odyssey. I thought it was Nintendo if it had been Nintendo, I would have lived with it, to be honest.
Yeah, don't piss off the mighty hand of Nintendo.
Yeah, I would.
Oh yeah.
Making no money off anyway.
Also, Nintendo have been doing this for years.
Yeah, but I know that, but if it, like I said, if it had been Nintendo, I would have let it go. I would have went on with my life. No, some jackass named Latin Audio Prof was the one who did the copyright claim, and I had it before I deleted it, and I quote, that one theme from Woodland Kingdom, Super Mario Odyssey Remix. I looked at that. Wait a damn minute.
There's no such thing.
Yeah, I actually looked this up like an hour ago too. There's no remix of that Woodland Kingdom. And even then, if it was, it's not even in the original fucking soundtrack of the fucking game.
This is really pissed him off, and I don't blame him. This is BS.
I can copyright dispute this, and I know I'll still be in the wrong to a degree. That's fine, because I would have just told YouTube, it's like, hey, I know I don't own this song. I'm not claiming to own this song. But the thing is, neither does this motherfucker.
Exactly.
There is no remix in Woodland Kingdom. It's just the original theme of Woodland Kingdom in Super Mario Odyssey that is owned by Nintendo. If you have to copyright claim me, claim it by Nintendo, not some guy who jerks off in his fucking...
Honey, we're on Twitch.
Whoa, hold on.
Oni, I get that you're angry, but... And you have every right to be. You gotta have some form of restraint.
Sorry.
You are on Twitch, dear.
I'm sorry.
We're not big yet.
But he's still affiliate.
Some guy who looks at...
Yeah, you can't even say that either. No.
Some guy who just basically gets off or enjoys the pleasure of just copyright claiming everybody he sees.
That's exactly
in his
it.
mother's basement.
Yes.
Ugh.
Exactly.
That reminds me of somebody.
I was about to say, hold on real quick. I actually looked up this dude, by the way, and I saw a couple of videos talking about him. He's a scammer.
He's a scammer.
Latin Audio Prof is a scammer. He'll copyright claim anything he sees because he can't make money on his own.
Yeah, basically.
Because he's too much of a sponge to get his own money.
Go ahead. He's gonna write it in.
Breathe, Oni, breathe.
That's the guy.
Alright, let me see. Alright.
Okay.
Latin Audio Prof copyright.
Mm-hmm.
And there's already like
Audio
guy.
Yeah.
Did you get a copyright strike at all?
Videos while I was trying to sleep.
Sorry about that.
It's alright.
Did you get a copyright strike at all?
No, it was just a copyright claim. That's the thing. Guy copyright claimed it and wants ad revenue for it, even though I don't make money off of it. I'm not. Even though if I don't make money off of it, this dude is just like, well, I don't care. And blah, blah, blah. Stop coming to me about it and just go about your day.
Well, if
You do get money off of it.
if he's a scammer, like you say he is, then eventually the system will catch him out and they'll say, yeah, what you're doing here, not working for us.
Get out of YouTube.
We've been doing this shit for 2 years.
Well, just remember this, the longer he has to wait, the harder the fall will be.
Look, I'm going to re-upload it today. I go through the Premiere process and all that shit. I'm going to try and re-upload it today. And if I see this jackass do it one more time, you know what? Screw it. I'll take a copyright strike to get rid of this jackass.
Yeah.
Actually, no. You know what? I'll borrow one of my other accounts to do it. I'll use the B-side to do it.
Okay.
All right.
Because I remember I had multiple accounts, so I could fucking do it. I also used the B-side to do it.
All right.
I think what might happen is I'll try and re-upload it to my Oni Rikaku channel first.
Okay.
See if this jackass does it again.
All right.
If he does it one more time, I'll delete it, re-upload it again onto the B-side. No, I'll figure out something. I'll figure it out because I really don't want to risk the copyright strike just to prove it.
No, you do not.
No.
And by the way, apparently in one of the videos, the guy that was arguing with this jackass is saying, trying to explain it properly and everything. And he also said, well, what are you going to do about it? I'll take it to court. Motherfucker, I don't even think you have enough money to take me to court. What are you going to do? Spend my money?
Here's the thing.
Breathe, brother.
The court costs will likely outweigh whatever likely compensation he could get from you. So on that one, he's screwed before he starts.
Apparently, that one guy that copyright claim disputed him did get away with it. That was the thing. The original guy that copyright disputed Latin Audio Prof, he did have music that was originally his anyway, not Latin Audio Profs, the OPs.
Okay.
That's fine. But here's the thing, with mine, it's, the music in Super Mario Odyssey, I do not claim to own that.
Nope.
It was made by Nintendo. But
That was made by Nintendo. Again, if Nintendo had been the one to copyright claim, I could have lived with that. I'll live with it till the day I die. I would have had no problem because that's a big company. I know where that audio came from. And you want to copyright claim your own music just to make a few bucks back? All right, fine, do it, whatever. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. That's fine.
Yep.
I'd rather it go to some, even though it's still bullshit, I'll live with that bullshit. I'm not going to sit here and get screwed. That's a better term, right? I'm not going to sit here and by some guy who can't make money off of his own and make viewers off of his own and just go after smaller YouTubers who and not give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because he can't be bothered to get his own job, the lazy sponge.
Yeah.
Well,
that's putting it lightly.
Here's the thing. Let's just say we were all fully fledged Twitch and YouTube affiliates and partners respectively. Yeah, we make money.
I am an affiliate.
We make money off of what we do, but what we do is essentially a side hobby that just happens to pay a lot extra cash because most of us still go to work for a living. We do this because, one, it's fun, and I get to hang out with my friends and just bullshit on here. And, but particularly with regards to movie reviews, I try to make it look as professional as possible because that's the way I would like it to be seen as. But, we still have jobs to go to because it keeps one foot on the ground. Whereas this guy, he doesn't seem to have that concept. But I forget who said this, but I believe this is appropriate. Stupid is as stupid does.
Yep.
Are you better now?
Oh, just...
You sound like you're less exhausted from it.
Yeah, it just pisses me off that
doesn't require much.
Just abuse the copyright thing like that.
Oh no, I agree with you on that. That some people do take way too much advantage of it.
Yeah.
Like I said, if it was big companies like Nintendo, Capcom, and all that.
You can't fight that.
No.
I mean, you're right. You can't fight that. It's still bullshit. But at the same time, yeah, it's still their shit. I'll live with it. I'll live with that fact.
Yeah.
Till the day I die.
Mm-hmm.
I'll I will never fight them on that. But it's some jackass like that. No, fuck off.
No.
Fuck right off, man. Look, I'm just gonna say this. I know you don't want to give this guy any more attention, and I don't blame you for one thing, but this is the one exception to anybody who can hear me from the sound of my voice. Somebody freaking report this guy.
Yep.
If you have any kind of video, and I mean this, if you had any kind of video that has this guy trying this, just go ahead and dispute the damn thing. Any more disputes, and that's gonna have to. And YouTube's going to finally have to step in sooner or later.
Yeah.
They're going to literally have to get off their lazy asses like, all right, fine, we'll take care of it. Boom, boom, done. Can you stop annoying us now? We like this shit money out of our asses.
You do realize that he'll probably just set up another channel or a backup channel.
Yeah, and then when we find out if it is him again, we'll do the same damn thing over and over again. I don't care. I have time on my hands.
All right. Okay. Just breathe. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine you've won the world title from Hulk Hogan, dude.
Please. I got enough hearing Ryback's bullshit right now too.
Oh God! Don't talk about that.
Let's not.
I was about to say, dare I even ask?
I don't want to know.
No. But I'll mention it.
Thank you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to GameStop.
Okay.
Okay. Tony Rikaku, everybody.
Yay. And don't forget to check out his channel, because I think he posted up his playthrough of Spectacular Sparky.
Ah.
On his YouTube channel. Yep.
Yep, developed by Freakzone Games, who also made the Angry Video Game Nerd games 1 and 2.
Yeah, and don't forget to check out his Twitch channel, twitch.tv/OniRikaku.
I play it, and therefore I will rage. Give me bits. Give me subscriptions.
Anyway, okay.
Yes.
Continue.
Lord knows I do not want to give this jackass any spotlight, but all right. I was on Twitter. I've been seeing that. Okay, Vince is not a good man.
We know
I
that.
can admit that wholeheartedly, but kind of mentioning his past, his really messed up past, that doesn't give you any praise. So, right, bitch, you ain't shit. Simple as that.
Alright. I'm going to bring something to the table now that's going to deflate the air of rage. No doubt only be like, ooh, air of rage, yes, I'm claiming that. And Liz is like, nope, no you're not. MovieWeb have listed 8 actors who could play Shadow in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. It's going to take guts for someone to step into the wicked red shoes of Shadow the Hedgehog. Here are 8 actors who could pull it off in Sonic 3. Sonic the Hedgehog and his recent sequel, Sonic 2, swept up viewers' hearts at the speed of sound. The iconic blue blur finally made it to the silver screen, and the Sega Sammy group put a fresh few twists on his story to keep things interesting. From gorgeous CG animation that blends surprisingly well with live actors, more so with the sequel from what I've seen, because there were a couple of goofs in the first movie, to high-octane action sequences and exciting performances from the cast, the cinematic world of Sonic has really started to take shape. Sonic 2 was an especially successful sequel, and from what I understand, it's one of the very few sequels, regardless of its superhero or video game, what have you, where the sequel actually seems to be better than the original. Taking a huge step towards establishing lore for the next installment, the mid-credit scene revealed none other than Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic's primary rival and a wildly popular canon character, and also, this June 23, it will be Shadow's 21st anniversary. Because he appeared... June 23, 2001, with Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which was actually released worldwide. With Sonic 3 and
nice.
Sonic and a Knuckles spin-off already in the works, there's plenty of debate which actor should be cast to play Shadow. Like every member of the Sonic team, his actor needs to get things just right. A healthy dose of stoic intensity, a dash of brooding. I went to watch Michael Keaton's Batman for inspiration. I'm Shadow. And a spritz of competitive edginess is the sort of formula we're looking for. While we wait for the official casting to be announced, here's our take on 8 actors who would do a killer job bringing Shadow to life. Ralph Fiennes. You might recognize this famed actor from any number of things: his numerous theatrical performances, his unforgettable portrayal of Voldemort in Harry Potter, and his appearance as M in Skyfall and No Time to Die, just to name a few. Fiennes has a gift for antagonistic characters who are imposing yet controlled. His ability to capture power and restraint in a single line is unparalleled, and would add a whole new layer of depth to Shadow. Keith David. Longtime fans of Keith David may know him for his work on Platoon and Requiem for a Dream, while newer fans might recognize him as the voice of Arbiter from Halo or the President on Rick and Morty, and also Goliath from Gargoyles. A little bit annoyed.
Yes.
And Spawn.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Regardless, and also
Not only in the HBO series, but also in Mortal Kombat 11.
And also, he was a voiceover for some WWE DVDs and Blu-rays in recent years. David's rich vocal range is deep, stirring, and poetic. Especially, go listen to him as Goliath, you will be moved. He's honed his ability to communicate on theatrical stages, and his extensive career shows us that he's capable of tackling little nuances for nearly any character. Imagine the bite and elegance he could bring to Shadow. Pedro Pascal.
Ooh, yes!
Okay.
Whether you first caught wind of him as Prince Oberyn on Game of Thrones, or Din Djarin as the titular bounty hunter in The Mandalorian, you can probably appreciate Pedro for his suave yet subdued persona. His voice is rich and memorable, and he can portray the right level of bitterness for Shadow's persona. In the more vulnerable moments when he struggles with his identity, Pascal is capable of bringing a little more humanity to the role. Adam Driver, 2 words, fuck no.
No.
Yeah.
No manches.
I'm good off that.
It's no wonder Adam Driver has garnered so much critical acclaim the past few years. I beg to differ. From the vicious and broken tantrum in the Star Wars sequel trilogy to the emotionally charged Charlie in Marriage Story. Driver has shown us numerous times that he's fantastic at getting the audience deep into their feelings. Yeah, deep into why did I pay to watch this? He has a way of making particular villainous characters feel believable and empathetic, and he's equally talented at showing fear, anger, control, and major driving forces for Shadow. Okay, I sat through The Force Awakens. I'm like, okay, dude, no. Bill Murray would have been better at this role, because at least when Bill Murray phones it in, you know there are some moments where he gives it, whereas with this guy, no.
It didn't get
the edge.
It didn't get any better in the other 2 films.
I'm glad.
I
Not
know.
really, no.
I saw them.
I've heard.
All I'm going to say with regards to the end of The Rise of Skywalker, as soon as I saw the clip of Rey going, I am Rey Skywalker, I'm like, oh no the fuck you ain't. Crying out loud, Oni would be more believable as a Skywalker because, well, for starters, he can actually act.
You can.
And also, Oni understands Star Wars more so. Now, to be fair, this is not necessarily the problem with Daisy, because at the end of the day, she's just handed the script and she's just told, go do it. But I just don't see Daisy Ridley as a good actress. See, good actress, actors, what have you. They have to have what I like to call conviction and plausibility. When I watch Sharon Stone, Julia Roberts, or Chloe Moretz, you believe their characters. Same thing with Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. It's like you believe she's Diana Prince. And it's the same thing whether it's Sam Neill, Michael Keaton, or RDJ, prime example. When you watch him as Tony Stark, you believe he's Tony Stark. You don't see Robert Downey Jr., you see Iron Man. With Daisy as Rey, I'm just like, you're phoning it in. Carrie Fisher did a much better job with what she did.
Yeah.
But back in those days, although special effects were... I'd say special effects are as good today as they were then. I'd say they're a little bit more refined and sophisticated now, because movies in the 70s and the 80s were not visual effects heavy as they are now, but effects were done back then to enhance the actor's performance, whereas now the actor's performance is just enhancing the visual effects, and they had to be able to have a decent story with decent performances, and Carrie Fisher did that across the board. Whereas with Daisy, it's just like, okay, you looked the part in the outfit, but when it came time to producing the goods with your acting, it's just like, I'm not seeing it. Especially this line, I didn't know there could be this much green in the galaxy, and you get Harrison Ford looking at her like, what? It's just, I'm sorry, I just didn't buy her acting.
Nah.
Travis Willingham, another popular voice actor. Travis Willingham has a certain level of intensity and quiet aggression that comes through beautifully in many of his characters. He's great with straightforward, deadpan delivery, and his vocal expression for combat sequences is an art in itself. His portrayal of Yoon Kada in D. Gray Man, Mori Senpai from Oran High School Host Club, and Spartan Frederick 104 in the Halo franchise all led to his potential as Shadow the Hedgehog. Now, number 3, I particularly agree with this, J. Michael Tatum. If you've ever seen Spice and Wolf and his performance as Lawrence, you know this guy does it in spades. This renowned voice actor has been all over the anime scene for years, and his range is vastly impressive. Tatum has done everything from over-the-top and zany to the most prestigious characters you could imagine. In terms of playing Shadow, Scar of Full Metal Alchemist, and Agnologia of Fairy Tail are just a few examples of how well he could do with the ultimate life form. Number 2, Christian Bale. Oh, good lord.
No!
Fuck that.
No.
Christian is no stranger to voice work, and one of the most promising examples of this is his ability to stay in character using the Dark Knight's raspy vocal disguise. Oh, good lord. Tone this down a few notches. A few? and you've nearly got a perfect rent. At this point, if Val Kilmer hadn't gone through his throat cancer like he's going through, use his Batman voice like he did in Batman Forever, and I think he might have had a good Shadow. By the way, from what I hear, he is slowly getting better, so Kilmer, should you ever listen to this, we're pulling for you.
Here's to a speedy recovery.
Yep. Tone this down a few notches and you've nearly got a perfect rendition of Shadow's voice in the games. Bale's time as Batman showcases his ability to tap into darker characters, and his work on lighter projects like Howl's Moving Castle shows us even more of his range. I'm still inclined to think that Michael Keaton would be a better fit, but what would I know?
Yeah?
I could be down for that, yeah.
And number 1, Keanu Reeves.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Possibly.
I don't know why, but for some reason it just clicks for me.
According to GG Retcon, fans have already been wildly vying for the national treasure himself to voice Shadow, and why not? He's perfect for the job. Shadow has always been dark and brooding with intermittent bits of powerful emotion, and that's where Keanu shines. With gritty, complex characters like Neo and John Wick under his belt and experience in voice acting, he's already the full package, and as a bonus, Sonic is already a huge fan of his. Okay.
When was this?
I don't know. Interesting thing. In the early 2000s, when the renaissance of comic book movies were coming about, this is just a little bit after X-Men, when you hear, like, there was talk in the works of Spider-Man finally coming through, there were two projects that came up where, one, they wanted Steve Buscemi as Dr. Bruce Banner, which I thought, okay, that would have been interesting. But the one they wanted to play Batman, initially, this was rumored, they wanted Keanu as Bruce Wayne. That would have been interesting to see him in the cape and cowl. I mean, we know he can play the dark, brooding aspect, but I don't know. I'd prefer if we had, say, a balance of the original voice actor, Richard Humphries, mixed in with a little bit of Jason Griffith. You know, because I feel like Richard really captured the essence of who Shadow was. Now, with Griffith, he does better as Shadow than he did Sonic. I mean, you know, I enjoyed his Sonic voice, but Shadow is just like, it felt like he was tapping into a more natural performance. Let's see. It'd be like Win voicing Lena Inverse as opposed to, say, voicing the lead, you know, as opposed to voicing Sailor Moon. I mean, Win could probably do things to do it where it's more of her take on it, but with Sailor Moon, you need somebody that's got that naivete and somebody who's very bubbly, happy-go, what have you, and Win tends to do better as Lena because Win tends to go places when she voices Lena. So much so that she actually scares Raiden.
Yeah.
Like I say, Bale, absolutely not. Tatum, if you listen to him as Lawrence, you know that he's got potential. Travis Willingham, didn't he voice Knuckles in Sonic Boom?
Hang on, may need to look up on IMDb.
Like I say, with Adam Driver, absolutely the fuck not.
No.
Pascal, I've not watched Game of Thrones that much, and even when I do, I just watch it for certain scenes. Don't judge me.
Daenerys.
Yeah, he was Knuckles.
Oh, okay. Keith David, I'm going to put that on the maybe pile. It's not to say that he couldn't do it, it's just that, I don't know, with that sort of voice like that, it's a very strong, powerful, and deep voice, and Shadow has more of a smooth voice to where, I don't know, Ralph Fiennes, I don't think he'd ever sign on the dotted line to do that, because he's more of a stage actor, and, you know, he goes for, like, big budgeted, so as much as decent acclaim as the Sonic movies are getting with regards to financial gain, I don't think he'd ever do it. I mean, it's an interesting idea for him to possibly voice Shadow, but I don't see that happening. So, out of the ones listed, I would probably say Tatum would be the more logical choice, because Keanu, don't get me wrong, I like Keanu for what he did with The Matrix, more so with Bill and Ted, mainly because it's just interesting to see it, you know, to see an actor that's so world renowned for his like brooding, more serious take, and he basically played an airhead at the end of the 80s in a time traveling phone booth. So I don't know. I mean, ideally, I'd like to see my choice, Michael Keaton, do it because I feel like there's the perfect balance there. But I don't know. Steve, what do you make of the potential choices, and who would you rather see voice the anti-hedgehog, for lack of a better description?
Bit of a range of choices with this list that they've come up with. The only thing I can think of when they mention Christian Bale is just the Batman voice going, "Where's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald?"
You know, if he does do this, there's going to be outtakes where they'll be like, "Come on, Chris, do it." Like, "Oh, fine."
But for some reason, the only one that seemed that Hollywood, well, to me, Hollywood would be going for would be Keanu Reeves, mainly because he's got that big kind of presence in Hollywood. I mean, what it would reminds me of when I initially heard they were going to do Idris Elba as Knuckles. I was a bit taken aback, don't take me wrong, but seeing it in the movie, it works.
Yeah.
Did.
It's like when the Chaos Emeralds forged together actually make the Master Emerald, and I'm like, wait a minute. You know, that actually makes so much more sense as opposed to having 7 emeralds separated. It's just like, put them all together to make the Master Emerald. I just thought,
And the fact is, you see the Chaos Emeralds fly out.
yeah.
It was crazy that it actually made sense in the movie because I was on the game that the Master Emerald, when broken, was all the Chaos Emeralds. But I like how the movie made sense out of it.
Mm-hmm. Also, Sean Retro, for the Sonic 3, they must use Live and Learn.
Yes, they have to.
Yeah.
All right. Lids, what do you make of the list that they've put together? And again, who would you choose as Shadow?
Out of all the people on that list, honestly, for me, Pedro Pascal would be a good choice because I've seen him in The Mandalorian and it's perfect because I do kind of love him. One person that they kind of left off the list, but I feel could make a good decent pick, Oscar Isaac. You can put him on that list because he's amazing in Moon Knight. He's put on like that guy deserves all the freaking awards of the performance he's put in on that show. And I can see him pull it off. So if they wanted to go that route, they can. But just everybody else, Keanu Reeves, that's a maybe for me. Same goes for Keith David. I love him, but it's like he's a bit more distinguished in voice sounding. He can try, but that's a little too low for Shadow. Adam Driver, fuck no. No, that's no for me. Just like again, I know Shadow's edgy, but that's too edgy for me. So no.
That's even. That is beyond Shadow levels of edgy.
Yeah.
Shadow, the Hedgehog, the character would look at Adam Driver's performance and go like, "Dude, lighten up." Again, if out of all that list, I guess I would pick Oscar Isaac would be my pick, but again, if from that list, Pedro Pascal would be my pick, honestly.
Okay. Raiden, same questions.
All right. Pedro Pascal definitely. I like how his voice is so distinguished in Mandalorian. Definitely for Shadow. Keith David, a part of me would love that, but as too on the nose, you kind of want to see someone different. Adam Driver, fuck that shit. Christian Bale, nope. Keanu Reeves, I definitely put it on the reserve. Now for my choices, first one, I'm going with voice actor routes. Josh Keaton.
Oh,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. I like
Seriously,
that.
I mean, if you remember his work as Spectacular Spider-Man, the way he changed up his voice when the symbiote was controlling him, it was just
Yeah.
that shit. That shit was just scary to see, but scary to listen. But it was very poignant. So I think him fitting with that voice would work well. Uh, Johnny Young Bosch, maybe. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, he's a
I
reasonably
mean,
competent voice actor, especially the stuff that he did for Haruhi Suzumiya.
and Bleach.
Hmm.
Also, and also he did also voicing Nero Devil May Cry would definitely help him out. You know what I mean? Especially
Hmm.
with that hidden power he has. Uh let's see another one. Okay, this time I'm going a little bit high profile, a little bit. Uh, hmm, let's see. Like I said, I would pick Keanu Reeves on reserve because it's like very on the nose. But if it was up to me, hmm, let's get this. All right, a part of me would probably like. All right, all right. Probably Jason Statham. I don't know.
That
I don't know. He
that
would
could
have
work.
that type of.
That could work.
He's have the type of voice that will get shit done, but in the end, he would know that he's not. This is not right. Also, especially, I mean, Sonic 2 Gun was introduced. That threw me off. So
Hmm.
if you had Live and Learn in there, you got to put the City Escape theme.
All I would say is, if they do get Statham, for the love of the good Lord, don't make him do an American accent like he did in the Transporter one. Because I'm like, dude, stop. I
Not
felt,
gonna lie, I did not. Not going to lie, I did not know had an American accent.
yeah, but the thing is, his was more laughable than mine. That's saying
Oh
something.
wow,
Mine, I'm not even trying. 'Cause
right.
I mean, I've said this to the point where, I'd probably say this in my sleep if probably put on the spot. Because I've been around people on Discord, Skype, Google Hangouts for the better part of 10 years, and I've watched American movies and TV shows since the 80s and 90s. After a while, it kind of gets woven in to the way you speak, because I don't have a natural accent from where I'm from in Bristol. Because again, I walk through sometimes, and they're like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "From around here." I was like, "You got a bit of an American accent." You was like, "Yeah, I get that a lot," but I take it as a compliment because I think of it as this is just part of me. There are some times where I probably purposely try to overdo it, but then there are times where it'll come out a little bit more with certain words and expressions, or if I'm on a sugar or caffeine high and it comes out and I'm not aware of it, then it's just coming out naturally. But most of the time, I'm kind of caught in between both. It's neither an English accent nor an American accent. It's kind of that little bit in between. But as I say, Statham, if they just let him use his natural English accent, I think that could work for Shadow. It's just like I say, don't make him use an American accent, because it's like when they tried to get Sam Neill to use an American accent for Jurassic Park. It's just like, no. They found a means of like trying to get him like halfway, where he's half New Zealand and half American, and I think like the most part it works, because like at the end of the day, you're watching for the performance, so it's all good.
Now I have three more people. Now that I finally think about it, another one will be Steve Yoon.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like his performance in Invincible was pretty good. I feel like I would love to see him tone his voice down a little bit, not like too gruff, but something will fit.
Okay.
Now, second one is kind of sort of low, but Shia LaBeouf.
Oh boy.
I don't know, just his voice. I think his voice would definitely fit because of ejected, abandoned, and just want to just unleash chaos in the world. That's how I. That's how I would use Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And last but certainly not least, and not because I'm playing favoritisms, Robert Pattinson.
You know, it's funny. A friend of mine, he brought up something years ago. He brought this up recently, saying Patterson would make a good voiceover for Shadow. I don't ever recall having this conversation because sometimes, you know, you have a conversation with someone years ago where you say something and you don't have any recollection years later because, you know, some things just naturally blur out. And apparently, for the Batman, Patterson tried to channel Richard Humphrey from Sonic Adventure 2, and I'm like, really? Okay.
More of a nerd than we thought.
Mhm.
A lot of people are nerds. It's just that we're a little more forthcoming about it.
Right. And let me cheat a little bit. If they're gonna put Rouge in there, screw it. Just go with Zoe Kravitz. Fuck it.
Possibly. I think what would be interesting, I don't know the name of this ASMR YouTuber that shows up in these honey commercials on YouTube where she talks about getting honey installed and have, you know, in like 2 clicks, but that very sort of, I suppose a much more familiar comparison I could make is Eliza Dushku. That very sort of sultry and slightly husky voice. That could work for Rouge because the whole thing with Rouge is there's that mysterious edge and, you know, there's something alluring and sassy in her voice, but because obviously it's family rated, you have to strike that balance between something that how do I word this? Something where it perks your ears up and doesn't make you feel too comfortable, if you get my meaning. Because, alright, it'd be like, let's just say for the sake of discussion, Big the Cat shows up in, say, Sonic the Hedgehog 4, and we find out Vin Diesel's voicing him. Rouge, you know, Lids will be like, I am very confused. I don't need frogs. I got family.
Personally, I would see Bill Hader voicing Big.
Yeah. So
seriously, when he voiced Alpha in 2017, I was like, okay, I like it.
I like how he had a very different take on the Alpha catchphrase. Rather be high pitched, it's more like bemused and agitated, like and I'm like, okay, I like that. It's when someone's able to take something that's so iconic, but able to do it in a fresh way where it's respecting what's gone before, but they're making it their own thing, and I think that's particularly good. 1 second, I just need to get a little refreshment from the fridge.
Okay.
All right.
It's got to be done. I'm out of Monster. Right. Oh, that's better. Refreshment is required when doing this. So like I say, if you can find that right balance where it keeps within the PG boundaries, but at the same time it perks up the ears of the male demographic, and by that, the fathers and the ladies who like their female characters in particular, to be like, ooh, hello. But just where it's like, it's tongue-in-cheek. I think that probably would have been the shorter and better way of phrasing it. So that'll be intriguing, and if we're going the Sonic Adventure 2 route, if Jim does stick around for one more, you do realize he'll be playing dual roles.
Yep.
Because we'll have Dr. Iva Robotnik and Professor Gerald Robotnik.
What makes me wonder how deep they're going to go into Adventure 2 lore.
If you bring Shadow in, you're going to be bringing it wholesale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Alls I ask of...
Like I said, you bring in Gun, and I don't know. I think what I do like about what they're doing with the Sonic movie universe, they're keeping things simple and not over the top like what Sega does every single game, from what I see.
All I'm going to say to Paramount is, when I say Paramount, I mean the writers specifically, because I like what they did with the first. I'm pleased with what little I've seen and heard of the second movie. For future adaptations, here is a list of games that are off the table and listed as forbidden. Number 1, Sonic 360. Do not even attempt to adapt that.
No.
I don't think they're that stupid.
You say that.
I know.
I feel like we probably got small doses of adventure from the storyline for Sonic 2, so SA2 is like the next logical step. If they did adapt Sonic Unleashed, you'd have to find a very clever way of doing that, whereby it's still family friendly, but it's not, moving away from the concept so that it becomes contrived. I mean, Lids can be able to agree with this. It'd be like taking Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or more Angel specifically, and try to make it family friendly. That would never happen. So that would be an interesting take on it. The Sonic CD storyline I'd like to see done, because I feel like you can do a lot of interesting things with that story of...
maybe make it a Paramount, maybe make it a Paramount Plus exclusive.
Yeah. And also
that way it'll be part of the story, but not like over arc.
And the other one,
you don't want to make it like Amazing Spider-Man 2 when you cram in too much.
No. And that also brings us to another point, because at some stage, because we know this is going to happen, we're going to see the entrance of a certain Pico hammer wielding character.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, but I think what we're gonna see with the movie, they're not gonna make her overly obnoxious in every game. She's just gonna be like a foil. Like I don't know. It's like I don't know. It's like a TV series where you have a character not minding the business, and then you have that annoying character just be there in the distance and sometimes try to get the prize. I don't know. I think with her, I think they'll make her a little bit annoying, but in a sense, they'll make her a little a little lovable. Because here's the thing, here's the thing with before Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic is a likable character, but very overly cocky, and you don't sometimes like is this really your hero? But what I really like what they did with Sonic, he's still a kid. He's still trying to, figure place out in the world.
Yeah.
And especially after the second movie, he definitely embraces like heroes aren't born, they're made. That's something
Yes.
he was trying to do, especially in the beginning of the movie. So that automatically makes him likable. Same goes for Knuckles. Like they gave him a very concise story. They gave you your backstory, especially that takes back from the first movie. So I think with that character, they'll do something just like with Sonic and Knuckles, and I think it'll be. It might go a little overboard, but I guess we'll see where that goes real soon.
Mm-hmm.
I have to answer this with Amy in three answers. What I think will happen, what I want to happen, and what I don't want to happen. What I would like to happen is take the base template of how she is in Sonic Boom, where she's more of a character, she has flaws. There's still that fondness for Sonic, but it's toned way down. What I think will happen, I think it'll be a situation where she inadvertently comes through to Earth from, let's just say that their homeworld is Mobius, just so that it's less confusing, because that's what it's always been in most other forms of continuity. Because in Sonic X, it didn't even have a name, it was just referred to as Planet X. I think it'll be a thing where she gets caught in the crosshairs, Sonic goes to save her, Sonic introduces, gets her to stay with the family, and they start seeing their little traits. She gets on Sonic's nerves a little bit, and then when she's kidnapped later, say by Shadow, Tom looks at him and goes, "You know what you have to do?" It's like, really? It's like, you know what? He's like, come on, you do it. No. I guess you don't want this Domino's takeout. Ugh, you have to go for my weak point. What I don't want to happen is how she was represented from Adventure 1 all the way up to Sonic Unleashed, where she's basically Stalker Girl incarnate.
Oh, God.
AKA Notice Me Senpai.
How I think her character should be, have a small percentage of her being the fangirl, but do it in a way where she's actually a little bit more shy about it. She sees Sonic and she's like, it's like, oh, it's the man of my dreams. But at the same time, because of her shy nature, she doesn't step out, doesn't put her hand out of her bubble too much.
Yeah.
You could give like her an arc in that movie where, characters like Tails, Maddie, and Tom encourage her just to be a little bit more open, just to, when I say not be so shy, do it in a way whereby you get her feeling more comfortable just talking a little bit more. Just get her to come out of her shell a little bit and do it that way. Not have a situation where Sonic wakes up one morning and she's standing over him like Sheldon to Penny in The Big Bang Theory.
I know.
And Sonic will just yell out, "Dad! She's doing it again!" Now I'm just trying to picture Amy, Amy Rose as Sheldon. Actually, no, let's not do that.
Don't.
No.
Don't give them ideas.
His voice is gonna come out of her mouth. I'm like, no.
Hey, Sonic, what? Bazinga.
Dang
No.
it! No. If they do that, it better be done in a ball pit.
So yeah, that's actually what was. Oh dear. I think Sean made to say, if they have Rouge with a sultry voice, don't give it as a means of opportunity for fans to draw fan art of her.
No, please no.
Although, saying that, do you think there's a risk of them adding too many characters in Sonic 3?
There is that potential, but the problem is, if you bring Shadow in, you have to bring Rouge in. You have to.
Yep.
Because
True.
she is as much a part of that story as Sonic and Shadow are. He also goes to say they might bring a bit of Shadow the Hedgehog into Sonic 3 as well. Yeah, there is that possibility. You could bring Shadow's backstory in. They could make Amy have no interest in Sonic at first, but it builds up later in the movie. Then that also goes to, to casting again. Who would you cast as Amy Rose? Personally, for me, go for Cindy Robinson, who voices her in Sonic Boom, because after Jennifer Doolard, and as much as I love Lisa Ortiz, and I've always loved her portrayal as Lena Inverse, I felt like with Amy, imagine Wynn on Helium.
Oh my.
Oh, shit.
Now,
Oh no.
For context, Wynn, if you're listening later, I love you. But that's what Lisa as Amy sounds like. It's basically your voice on Helium, because Wynn can do the high-pitched, cute voice, but Lisa doing that times that by 10. Especially the way she was in Sonic X. Now, to be fair, a lot of that is down to the voice directors for 4Kids, because 4Kids were, with the exception of Ninja Turtles, 4Kids were notoriously known for bad voice directing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
As well as the soundtrack as well. Don't even get me started on Sonic X, because the Japanese version was beautiful. The English version, it was butchered.
Not to mention some of the dubbing mistakes that they did.
We don't talk about that. I mean, in the Japanese version, in episode 2, Sonic says the line "shit" when he's escaping with Cream from Area 99. Now, here's a thing that people need to remember. In Japan, saying the S word has the same amount of explicit level as saying darn, shoot, or fudgicles. There's nothing. But in the West, a little bit of a different story. We don't put that in kid shows. You might do that as an outtake, because there were some Power Ranger bloopers from Zeo where Austin St. John said something and then it was blurred out. Because, sometimes things happen on set. Sometimes, you drop something and it's like, whoops, wasn't supposed to say that.
Bad.
But most of the dialogue from the Japanese dub, if you just take out a few words, it's perfectly fine. But the English dub, it was dumbed down so hard to where it's like the voice actors were not given an opportunity to try. Now, when you give those same voice actors who then go over to voicing the characters in the games, they were given better direction, because you hear Lisa Ortiz as Amy, and it's like, wait a minute, sounds like she's actually trying here. Or you hear Jason Griffith as Shadow, and you're like, whoa, this is better than what he did on the TV show. And the same thing with Sonic. I like Dan Green, but he was miscast as Knuckles. I just didn't buy it. It'd be like... Let's think of an example we could work with. It would be like casting Mr. T in the role of Bruce Banner in the 90s animated series. You see how there would be such a miscasting?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm just imagining, like, Hulk trying to... I'm like, Hulk, pity the fool who don't like my show. Although, I don't know if I can say this online. There was one episode from the 70s TV series where there's a car wash, and there's a couple of African American actors just going through the job. They see the Hulk, and this line is said.
Oh.
Boy.
I can't.
Oh God, no!
Oh.
I can't say that.
Oh no! 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 God, I turned into Shia LaBeouf there.
Oh my
I remember
God.
seeing that at the time. I'm like, it's like, okay, first of all, yes, factually, they are correct. You know, the Hulk is green. But it's like, the context of the situation, I'm like, I don't think I can say that.
Oh gosh, no.
Just smile and nod, or just nod, or just nod.
Just imagine, you know, it's a situation where Oni has passed a test to be a quiet, civilized, and distinguished gentleman with a top hat and monocle.
That would make sense. No, don't do that.
Not in this universe.
No.
I am Sir Onald of Rakakushire, and this is my fiancée, Madame Kitsune of Rakakushire as well.
Ew.
Oh dear.
So basically, just imagine the Monopoly Man, but it's Oni's voice.
Oh.
And
God.
because you don't get to go past him, you don't get $200.
God, now you put an image in my head, MJ. Thank you for that.
We imagine it like in real. It'd be like, wait a minute. So if people walk past me, they don't get $200 from me. Really?
He'd have way too much fun with that.
Yes, he would. Okay. It's at that time in the evening, so you know the deal. When we do previews now, I can't put I can't stream the review in question, so I have to have it as like a separate thing. So I worked long and hard on this, even with the technical difficulties. Now, Sean, get that up and running on the window, because this is not YouTube, because I don't know how Twitch are with streaming, my movie review, so I'm having to do it as a separate window, so this is like being old school SKL. So, when you're all ready, and and Sean, I won't be able... how do I say this? When I say go, that's when you hit the play button as well, just so that everyone keeps up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Hold on.
I'm ready. Wait, I hate SpongeBob.
I'm ready.
Lids.
Give me a sec. I had to
Sure.
load some. Have to load it. All right, there we go. All right, I'm at 0.
3, 2, 1, go. First review in 2 months. Spider-Man. Arguably one of the most recognizable comic book characters in the world. Created in 1962, after Stan Lee had created the Incredible Hulk, he had been inspired to create a character that could crawl on walls after he'd seen a fly crawling the wall. He wanted something that was half man, half spider. The origin of Spider-Man first appeared in Amazing Fantasy 15 on June 5, 1962. We were introduced to the titular character named Peter Parker, that was an orphan living with his Aunt May and Uncle Ben. On a school field trip, he is bitten by a radioactive spider and took on powers of a spider proportionate to a human. By this point, Spider-Man had been featured in 40 years worth of comic book stories, numerous animated series, and probably the most notable and with critical acclaim was the 90s animated series that had Christopher Daniel Barnes, who some of you may know better as Prince Eric from 1989's The Little Mermaid, voicing Spider-Man Peter Parker, and to this day, he is considered one of the most quintessential voices of the webhead with his sarcastic and witty delivery.
Huh? 2 of them? Congratulations, you can count. And they say the school system's failing.
There have been Spider-Man movies before. Spider-Man in 1977.
Classic.
That's my
Spidey.
Spider-Man Strikes Back and Spider-Man The Dragon's Challenge. These were made-for-TV movies with them being released theatrically outside of the US. There had been an attempt to bring Spider-Man to the big screen as far back as 1985 with numerous rewrites under canon films that would have seen a college-aged Parker having Otto Octavius as a teacher or mentor figure. The project fell through and it wouldn't be until 1994 where
Wonder if that's when
Pictures
Insomniac
and
got the
GM
inspiration
would
for the
bring in
game.
James Cameron to make a
Possibly.
film where Spidey would have been played by Leonardo DiCaprio and having Arnold Schwarzenegger playing Doc Ock. The project went nowhere, and it wasn't until Marvel licensed the character to Columbia that Spider-Man finally went into production. So, after the likes of Batman and Superman had their turn at the box office, all eyes turned to Marvel and Columbia's first big screen adaptation of the Webhead. After 20 years, does it still hold up? Let's find out as we revisit Spider-Man. This was a monumental event back in 2002. After 4 Superman and Batman movies each, from the late 70s to the late 90s, Marvel were slowly starting to come into their own with the release of Blade in 98, then X-Men in 2000, with Sir Patrick Stewart leading the way as the first live-action Professor Charles Xavier. If Batman is DC's crowned jewel, then the same could be said for Spidey for Marvel. I think people gravitate towards Spidey is because he's the everyman. He represents what we could do if we were given these powers by accident. And this is something that really hits home for Parker after his uncle's funeral. Because you remember what his Uncle Ben taught him. What I like that the movie does, it shows a montage of Parker fighting crime as Spider-Man to show that he's building a reputation where people's opinions are divided. There are those that appreciate what he does, and then there's this clown.
He stinks, and I don't like him.
Most people know in the comics and the various animated series over a 4-decade period will know that Spidey creates webs via his web shooters with web fluid he developed. In this, however, his powers are organic. Wholesale. He has organic web shooters where his body has a gland that produces his webbing organically. Around the time that most studios were going for a realistic approach and director Sam Raimi opted to make his shooters grown in his body. The pacing is fluid even with no action scenes, and the movie wastes no time with Parker narrating that this movie is about Mary Jane. I found this a little weird because I think the movie is about Parker coming to terms that there are consequences of him being Spider-Man, even though he's helping the innocent and remembering what his uncle taught him about responsibility. You can clearly see in Peter's eyes when MJ confesses her love for him that he's so conflicted, that he so badly wants to be with her, but he knows what that comes with. That would compromise him if criminals knew who he was and who he was close to. It's movies like this that teaches the importance of being a loner so that none of your friends and loved ones can come to harm. Just look at Batman. There's a reason why in the majority of the comics, shows, and movies he stays a loner with the exceptions of James Gordon and Alfred as his allies and confidants. I think the ending scene could have been better written to where it should have stayed consistent in Mary Jane's hand still being on Parker's cheek when the camera is on her, and then it goes to Parker and her hand is down, and then vice versa. I couldn't go throughout this movie without talking about the character that arguably stole the show. J. Jonah Jameson. In pretty much every
And for context, Petoff was the guy who directed the Catwoman movie.
Not that movie. No.
Flattering image of Spidey as a criminal menace. Jameson debatably has the best material of him ranting over Spider-Man's image and then realizing he can make money out of this when Robbie Robertson says that they sold out 4 printings.
We sold out 4 printings.
Sold out?
Every copy.
When you have JK's witty and charismatic delivery as the character, it's not hard to see why fans love the character and why Simmons loves playing him. For me, the best highlight of the movie is easily the bridge battle, where he not only saves a rail car of children, but he saves Mary Jane from falling into the river. And the way
that green
Danny
screen
Elfman
has not
scored the
aged
scene
well.
when Goblin said he'd kill MJ nice and slow is just powerful.
That's the foe.
20 years later, this movie remains a standard bearer of how you introduce a beloved character to the big screen. The first actor to portray the wall crawler in a big budgeted picture. What I like about Tobey's performance as Parker is his ability to show the quiet and shy nature of the orphan teen that lives with his aunt and uncle. He tends to be more vocal around James Franco's Harry Osborn, whereas around Kirsten he tends to clam up.
Awkward.
I think if you're a quiet teen and you see the girl of your dreams, you do tend to clam up. And also Mary Jane's a redhead, so that's automatically a win.
Yep.
He conveys the weight of guilt on his shoulders well as realizing that if he had stopped the robber, he would have prevented his uncle's murder. That and remembering what he taught him.
Whatever life holds in store for me, I will never forget these words. With great power comes great responsibility.
Peter Parker is Spider-Man because of his Uncle Ben. Surprisingly, my biggest critique with Maguire is as Spider-Man. Now, in the comics and cartoon history, Spidey is known for cracking jokes. It's part of a facade that he also wears as a mask to hide his feelings. In this, he cracked 2 jokes. One against Goblin.
It's you who's out, Gobby. Out of your mind.
This one in a cage match against Tom McGraw.
That was
played
lame.
by the late Macho Man Randy Savage.
That's a cute outfit. Did your husband give it to you?
Oh, that has really.
What
we need to remember
has not aged well
that
at
line
all.
was written around a different time where it was seen as
You wonder why
acceptable,
I
whereas today,
prefer
ooh,
purples.
no, you can get canned for that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put it like this: if it were being written today, the line would be more like, "Hey, that's a cute outfit. Did you get it at a wrestling reject store?" Now, as to whether that's comedic, that's up to
works.
debate. But for all those concerned, it would be seen as okay. I think had Maguire been given more comedic material to work with, it might have been a more balanced performance. Willem Dafoe is to the Green Goblin as Jack Nicholson was to the Joker, losing themselves in the role and being completely ham about it. But taking into consideration that these characters have had a long history as these colourful and charismatic figures, it only makes sense that you cast actors to do the parts justice. I've said this so many times down the years that I've lost count. You can tell when an actor is enjoying their work when they lose themselves in the role and are enjoying it way too much. And to this.
Itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout.
Ah, damn it!
Yes.
Okay, point to order. When someone smiles like that, chances are they're not acting.
Run.
In Spidey's 60-year existence as a character, people know he's had two main love interests in the comics.
Not gonna lie,
Gwen
she's
Stacy
gorgeous
and
there.
the more well-known interest,
Yes.
Mary
And she
Jane
turned 40
Watson.
today.
In terms of appearances,
Wow.
Kirsten had the right look as the girl next door with the red hair, and I think most guys were smitten with her back then. Acting-wise... Okay, how honest do you want me to be? What we have here is a
Oh,
Megan
boy.
Fox situation. If the material is catered to her capabilities, then it's fine. And for the most part, her acting is... passable. It's nothing to write home about. It's certainly
Fine.
nothing compared to Emma Stone's performance as Gwen Stacy a decade later. But I'll get to that next year. Sadly, this was her best performance as MJ. Not to be confused with me. Her performance would continue to get worse in the sequels, especially Spider-Man 3. The first major live-action actor to
No.
the figure to instill a strong sense of responsibility to Peter.
In retrospect, I do like
unknowingly
Cliff's
that this would serve his
performance.
nephew well as a vigilante.
Hmm.
The late Cliff has a warm presence and a great father figure in the absence of his real father, as that aspect of the story was never touched
No.
upon in this iteration. Probably what many consider the most iconic portrayal
Plus,
of
she's
Peter
British.
Parker's auntie. Rosemary displays
Whoa.
lots of warmth and guidance to her young
You know
nephew
what?
in the loss
That
of her
did,
husband
that does
and his
not that
uncle.
did not surprise me.
In a weird way, she continues the role as the moral compass figure that Ben was and offers Peter advice when he's looking for answers, and even tells him what everyone else already knows, particularly about Mary Jane. She would reprise her role 2 more times where she would act as a pivotal figure for Peter and his alter ego. I think he was one of the weaker performances. I don't know what it was, but it just seemed like he wasn't invested in what he was doing, or he was just phoning it
And
in.
nowadays he's
You know, let's
Spider-Man 3 arguably being his best performance. The only time in Spider-Man 1 where he shows any conviction is where he thinks Spidey has killed his father.
I thought Sally Field as
Oh, May, I did like
May
her.
was a little better.
Like
Yeah.
Defoe, Simmons
Yeah, this is
loses
where I
himself in
goofed
the role
up.
as JJ. He looked the part the moment his reveal happens in the
Goddamn.
editor's office of the Daily Bugle, where you
It's
can
alright,
see his
I'll
two-tone
fix it
flat
later.
top haircut, along with the iconic mustache
happens.
that dates back to the original comics and the subsequent animated series.
When I first saw him on
1994
theaters,
animated
yeah, that's
series,
that's
arguably the most
that's
iconic,
JJ.
with the late Edward Asner being the voice of JJ. It's said
To the point where he
that
voiced him in
found out
Ultimate
for a
Spider-Man.
kid waiting with him at the bus stop that he got the role of J. Jonah Jameson before the studio even called him. Well, that's not a bad way of finding out. I find his best quotes from the movie are...
Who is Spider-Man? He's a criminal, that's who he is.
And...
What is he, shy? We can get a picture of Julia Roberts in a thong. We can certainly get
I'd
a picture
like
of that
that.
weirdo. He doesn't want to be famous. Infamous.
J.K. loves the character.
Oh, God.
Don Machida Jr. Damn.
Avengers, Earth Mighty's Heroes, Ultimate Spider-Man, and to even a cameo as JJ.
I bet that takes so many takes to get that
He would
right.
reprise the role 2 more
Great.
times.
Now I got a picture of Julia Roberts in a thong. Why?
Boy, Julia Roberts is hot.
No, that's not the problem.
Subtle.
It's inappropriate right now.
Suppose. But it was 2002, so, you know.
This is
Okay, 2002 Julia Roberts. I'll take that.
As good as the special effects are, some of the visual effects have not been.
I think I know which special effects you're talking about.
The Green Goblin exiting the parade, the CG used
Look at that.
on his glider doesn't
Yeah.
Oh God, that looks
my
bad.
God, that's
was
smoke.
molded after the Green Ranger. If Hayam Saban actually spent money on the costumes.
Ugh.
Ooh.
Another major critique I have is with Spidey's costume. More specifically, the mask. Now here's the thing. The mask is comic book accurate.
What I find jarring is that whenever he would talk, the chin is not interacting with the mask, and that can take you out of the story.
I'm glad 14 years later, when Tom Holland made his MCU debut as a younger Spider-Man, you actually see the chin portion of the mask interact when he speaks. However, the web-swinging scenes still look great to this day, from when you see him swinging after his uncle's killer and to various scenes when he has the costume. There is one shot of the twin towers with visor, even though they had fallen down a year prior because of 9/11. Why the decision was left to keep them in, I don't know. I know that they were still filming the movie when the tragedy happened, and were even included in the original theatrical trailer of the helicopter of robbers getting caught in his web between the buildings.
As a visual effect, the webbing still looks great to this day, even when it made a return in Spider-Man No Way Home.
So, 20 years later, the effects are hit and miss. They're a product of their time. But via the same token, they can take you out of the moment.
I thought you were going to talk about the skeletons.
No.
Oh, Lord.
Danny Elfman.
And Lord knows I've sassed him plenty in other movies.
What he did for the score of this movie has a very grand and majestic feel, from the opening score, Spidey swinging to the bridge, and as mentioned earlier, his final moments with the Green Goblin. Some of the more tender moments are when we see these moments with Peter and MJ slowly beginning to create chemistry with each other, of which one somewhat romantic moment shows a romantic bonding between them whilst Mary Jane is visiting Aunt May with him.
And the same can be said with this scene. Folks, don't lie. You've all dreamed about doing that.
When Elfman is not trying to be rinse and repeat, he is able to make the score a storytelling piece to where it complements and elevates the scene. The only composer that matched Elfman for a decent Spider-Man score was James Horner a decade later with The Amazing Spider-Man. Chad Kroeger and Josie Scott of Nickelback and Saliva, respectively, performed arguably the most popular number on the soundtrack with Hero.
Aerosmith even did a rock and roll version of the 60s TV theme.
Suffice to say, the score is just as iconic as the story.
Also, Sum 41's what we're all about.
I love that song.
Off a budget of $139 million. 20 years of inflation later, and the movie's total would be $1.3 billion.
Yep.
It took in $114 million on its opening weekend, making it the first movie ever to do so on its opening weekend. It held the record for highest grossing superhero origin film until the 2017 release of DC's Wonder Woman. Entertainment Weekly put this in Spider-Man on its end of the decade best of list, saying, "There's a fine line between romantic and corny, and the rain-soaked smooch between Spider-Man and Mary Jane from 2002 tap dances right on that line. The reason it works, even if she suspects he's Peter Parker, she doesn't try to find out. And that's sexy." USA Today critic Mike Clark believed the casting of Tobey Maguire rivaled that of Christopher Reeve as
also trying to do that kiss in real life would probably really end badly.
The only way that would work is if you do what they did from Spider-Man 2, where one of them's lying down.
Criticism.
Okay.
Richard George had this to say.
Hey, the last sentence.
We're not saying the comic book costume is exactly thrilling, but the Goblin armor, the helmet in particular, from Spider-Man is almost comically bad. Not only is it not frightening, it prohibits expression.
You know it's cold somewhere when I agree with IGN. Prove me
Spider-Man
wrong.
would spawn two sequels, 2004's Spider-Man 2, which is considered one of the best sequels as well as one of the best superhero movies of all time, and 2007's Spider-Man 3, which is still very divisive to this day with regards to
well, you know what they say
some
about
cases,
swings and roundabouts.
character assassination.
And the less we say about this scene, the better.
No!
A CG animated
I
series
had to
followed
get it
from
in
MTV
once.
and Mainframe Studios, the same company that gave us the 90s series Reboot and Beast Wars. With Neil Patrick Harris as Spidey, Ian Ziering as Harry Osborn, and Lisa Loeb as Mary
Yep.
Jane Watson. There was supposed to be a
Whoa.
fourth
Oh, that I
Spider-Man
did not- I
movie with
forgot
Tobey
about that.
Maguire set to go, but then the project was cancelled when Sam Raimi withdrew from it. The series was then rebooted for 2012's The Amazing Spider-Man, with Andrew Garfield replacing Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker. A sequel followed in 2014's The Amazing Spider-Man 2, of which the movie was panned by fans and critics to such a degree that it
Less
made
said about that movie, the
Spider-Man
better.
3 look like a masterpiece by comparison.
Ouch. Way to goof that one up.
After a fallout between Sony and Garfield, as there was talk of bringing Garfield into the MCU as Spider-Man, Tom Holland became only the third man this century to play Peter Parker Spider-Man in live action when he debuted in Captain America 3: Civil War. Holland would appear as Parker 5 more times in Spider-Man Homecoming, Avengers 3: Infinity War, Avengers 4: Endgame, Spider-Man Far From Home, and appearing in Spider-Man No Way Home, in which he stood beside former Spider-Man in Andrew Garfield and the OG himself, Tobey Maguire.
The movie has been enjoyed on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K since 2002. I'm MJ Knight, and this was Spider-Man. Pizza time will happen in the sequel.
Yay!
Dang it, now I want a pizza.
Yes! That's too on the nose.
It is.
Just as well, it was just JJ, because I was tempted to type in JJ Hogan. I'm like, no, don't do it.
No, don't you do it. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Like I say, the audio quality will be resolved when I go to Spider-Man 2 and 3. Maybe I don't need to elongate the background there on that. That's a bit weird.
Yeah.
But like I say, it was kind of rushed for time, and I woke up real late today. So pretty much since 5:30 this afternoon, I've been doing what I could just to get it right.
Understandable.
But like I say, after we go off air, I'm gonna re-render it and just change a few small things up, just so that it's just the small things, you know. I mean, the audio, I did my best, considering the situation I was in. So, you know, when you're in a spot whereby you have to turn the gain up and you have to keep your voice down to a certain level, you work with what you have. So, and you know, because again, I don't know if it was the volume of my voice that was annoying one of my neighbors. So what I'm doing is switching the filming schedule to do this during the day, because most people are at work at that point and nobody cares at that stage.
Yeah.
When it's the evening, it's a little bit
More
difficult.
people are likely to be on the premises.
Yeah, so, you know, and somebody actually mentioned to me at work, it's like, well, the fact that, you know, you're actually showing that type of consideration, and what I tend to do with my filming schedules when I've got scripts for reviews, if I've got the voiceovers done for one review, but, you know, I'm going to do the camera work, if I've got, like, the script for the follow-up review, even if I haven't got the voiceovers done, it's just like, nope, let's just do 2 in one go, and then it's done. And what I tend to do, provided I'm not recovering from an operation, injured, or had a bug that was going around. I tend to do this every 2 weeks. It's not like I'm doing this every single night. If I was doing it to the point where it's every night and I'm not showing consideration, it's like, okay, then you have a reason to have have a legitimate complaint. But every 2 weeks, I don't think that's anything to get bent out of shape over. But that's my take on it. So I will be, like I say, refining a few things. It's going to take a few hours to render, because obviously I've got to go back in and redo the credits a little bit, because like I said, that background went on longer than it needed to, and just to change a few lower thirds. But aside from that, the review's fine itself. I'd like to be able to go back and redo the audio, but when there's no noise removal in the editing on there, and Audacity doesn't really tend to do a great job, because yeah, it removes the noise, but then you have this, like when the sound's cutting out from someone on Discord and it sounds like it's cybering. It's like that sort of thing. There's that distortion, and you're basically swapping one inconvenience for another, and for me that's just not worth it. Alright. Let's see what Sean has said. Oh, IPG's in here. Hey buddy, how you doing? Sean says, I enjoy hearing your pain over the dancing emo Parker. Okay, Sean, you need to seek therapy for that, because if you're enjoying my pain, oh good lord, you're the opposite. You're basically a masochist. It's basically the opposite of what Oni does when he's playing games he don't like. It's like, I hate this, I hate this. And you have like, let's go, then put it down. I can't, I must endure the pain. So you want to watch TNA again? Okay, yeah, maybe I should stop for tonight.
Like with what happened with GTA Defective Edition.
Indeed.
Raiden would probably just donate bits to that, like, oh, this is fun, yes, I'm going to donate bits, yes, I like the pain, yes. Yeah, but you're not in pain, no, but your pain is giving me pleasure, oh, yes, very good. Wait, how did Raiden turn into...
Hold up.
Wait, how did Raiden turn into L-Man?
Oh god, no.
No!
I, L-Man Raiden, will now join the Heath Slater International Appreciation Fan Club.
I would not go to the levels that man has gone, especially the things he's talking about wrestling. Jesus Christ.
Oh dear.
I mean, seriously, Elman is like your brother, except with wrestling. It's scary.
Just don't ever mention. All right. To be fair, whenever Christian has been mentioned on RDR before, he just says, "Hello, favorite wrestler." And he just compliments on his wrestling. But if he sees Justin Gabriel, Heath Slater, and he's like, ooh, I'm going to have fun later. L-Man, not whilst we're on air. Or, although I happened to mention one time, goes, L-Man, the only way this will be a three-way for you is if you have Christian, Justin Gabriel, and Heath Slater in a triple threat match. Yes, that's actually kind of true. I must be allowed to gnaw my bones. And you're like, I do not want to know how you do that, or even what that is. Because it's like we say, L-Man, he freaking goes to places. All right.
I can imagine we're a cartoon and the stuff he says, we just look at him just scared out of our lives.
Yeah. Steve.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on Spider-Man 20 years later? Do you think it still holds up? And thoughts on the review?
I think I'm very much with your line of thinking. It has things that are very dated, mainly with the effects, but overall it still works. Very much a product of the times. Same as always, solid work on the review. In terms of the audio problems that you had, in terms of the situations with recording, it's not your fault. I just put it down to circumstances. We all get them at times.
I appreciate that. Madam President, same questions to you.
I thoroughly enjoyed that review, and I didn't really see any problems with it. You did a good job yet again. I have to commend you on that. As far as like the reason you gave for that movie, I kind of agree. There's like certain things where it's like it's a memorable movie, but yeah, it's a product of its time to a certain degree, where it's the effects, let alone, are just like yikes. Let's just not talk. Let's be talking about the skeletons. No matter why.
No.
But all in all, I kind of agree with some of your viewpoints. So it's like I will admit it was a good review. So all in all, you did a good job.
And to our own Blade, same questions to you, sir.
For what is worth the review, you did your best. I mean, we all make mistakes. It wasn't too bad. So I think you did great on there. How it holds up. Like Red said, product of its time. The only time you'll check the movie out, is just Willem Dafoe just being the biggest ham on earth. Yeah, I remember going to theaters, my family. It was poignant and crazy. With this movie, I don't usually go back to it like I used to. Mainly is the second movie and Amazing Spider-Man. Because I feel like that's the epitome of Spider-Man, a wisecracker type character that's, like I said, the everyman. Got bills to pay, blah blah. Despite all success as Spider-Man, you got to go through shit as a civilian, and I feel like a lot of people can definitely identify that. So yeah, it's 2002. It's still. I won't say it holds up, but some scenes were good. Some scenes were just, oh my god, what the hell were they thinking? But yeah, still enjoyed it to this day, and like I said, did a great job with the review. Can't wait for the rest of the sequels.
Yeah, one of the things if I had more time, what I would have done, because I'll show you something after we go off air, because I did something for the Amazing Spider-Man 2 originally, but for whatever reason, I think I was worried about like copyright issues and what have you. I actually did a customized opening with the 90s Spider-Man opening, and it's actually one of my editing projects I'm most proud of, because the music fit the footage, and it's a version of the 90s Spider-Man theme where the pitch was pushed up, and I think that added a lot more excitement to it. And like I say, you'll see in a bit, but it's something that I regret not putting in, because I did it for the first Amazing Spider-Man when I used to do movie reviews on site, but Cabot Circus in Bristol, they're a little bit touchy about people filming, even if it's just like a personal moment between friends. They're a bit on the touchy side. One of my buddies, I would simply refer to him as the Pat Man. He got told this by one of the security guards. Not making that up.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Heyo.
I'm not touching that one with the 10-foot flagpole. Nope.
My lord.
I don't know what their thinking is these days, because I think this was like so circa 2010, 2011, so I don't know, but that was the reason they were told, like, you know, all it was just like a couple of selfies with friends, and they were just told, no, you can't do that. And what I did tend to do up until about, I think the last review I actually filmed out there was, it might have been Black Panther and The Shape of Water, because I didn't actually put out any reviews from middle of February until the beginning of March 2018, because I'd caught the Australian flu that came over, and Steve, that hit everyone like a tidal wave. I was in bed for about 5 to 6 days, feeling like I was rolling down the hill, even though I was just sat up watching DVDs.
What time in 2018 was that?
Let me just bring up my calendar 1 second. Right, let's go back in time a moment. Let's see, 2018, I'm going to go to February.
Oh, I think I may have caught it as well without even realizing it.
Yeah, because I remember specifically, week beginning February 26th, that's when we had the Beast from the East show up in the UK, where we all got snowed under for about a week and a half. So the point I'm referencing is Monday, February 12th. Because I've had the flu before, but nothing, and I mean nothing, like this, because I slept for close to 11 hours that day.
Ugh.
Well, I think when you get ill, it comes in one of two ways. Either, one, your immune system's low, or you're run down, or it's both of the above. And I think I was just, you know, when I say not in a good place, I'm talking like just physical health-wise. I wasn't really dosing my immune system up, what have you. And I knew something was up the Sunday before. You know, like where your throat just feels a little weird and you have this weird feeling around your head, like there's something there, but there's not. It was only like Monday, and I was taking Lemsip Flu Max Strength with me all day, because I was like, no, I'm not missing this and what have you. And I remember looking back at the raw footage, I would take some very small pauses in between my words, because I knew I was trying to suppress a cough. And yeah, I didn't do the editing till about 2 weeks after, because like I say, I was just wrecked. So yeah, that time of the year, and me and health-wise, injuries and mental health-wise, always seems to be a bit of a stigma around that time. I don't know why, but yeah, just, you know, like I say, just glad to get back to that. So probably this week, I'll probably watch Spider-Man 2 and 3 again back to back, so that everything's just all fresh. And then I'll probably because I'm aiming to get Spider-Man 2 done. No, Oni's being Oni.
He's having a moment.
I don't know a time where he hasn't had a moment, Lids.
You're not wrong.
I'm aiming to get Spider-Man 2 ready for May 15. So therefore, Spider-Man 3 will go out on May 29. So that's 3 reviews in 1 month. But the thing is, they're all 2 weeks before, 2 weeks after each other. And I think realistically then, Season 17 will close out. I have done the filming for Titanic, but what I think I will do, I'll take, say, a 2 to 3 week break before starting production on Season 18, and that'll probably be the first one to go out, which means I have to acquire the last 2 Terminator movies.
Oh.
I'm not looking forward to that either, but I started the miniseries, therefore I must finish. But at least with this, as far as we know, until further notice, there's no other Terminator movies to do.
Thank goodness.
Thank God.
Thank sweet merciful God.
Which means there's going to be something different for October, because Hulk's done until they do like another live action Hulk movie of some kind. And then, there's no Turtlevember, so there's going to be a whole new set of movies, which, well, here's what I could technically do for October. I could, just have the first Scary Movie included, because that was one of them. That was meant to be set for this season, but never happened. And with Space Jam could start a new series, because it's all about stars and what have you. Just have like Starvember.
Or yeah, that could work.
So something along those lines, and then December we finish off with Sonic, because I put out the poll. That's what they voted for. They want the second year anniversary retrospective. So I asked the question, they answered. I really wanted Ghostbusters 2 to win, but that's what I could do for October. I could do a brand new retrospective for Ghostbusters 2 doing the standard that I've set. So that'd be interesting. I mean, eventually I will get to Afterlife, but I think with Afterlife enough time needs to pass. Because I put up the question for Sonic because I thought, why not? See what happens, because Sonic's actually in a good place again, popularity-wise.
Thank God.
Well, Paramount know what to do with him. Sega, it's just like, we have this idea of Sonic going back in time and racing against velociraptors. I'm like, okay, that would look cool in a YouTube poop video.
Not in a game.
I mean, one thing I'm glad that's actually happening with Sonic this year. Fans United for Satam are actually giving us the 3rd season, and Crush 40 actually did a cover version of the theme song.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Fans have long wanted this, because they just want closure, because it ended on such a cliffhanger. And this is just like all the fans' dedication coming together and saying, look, we want this to happen. And now they're finally getting it, and I say, fair play to them. They've probably got Laura Blue as Sally, which is like the closest sound-alike we've ever gotten to Cafe Sose. She's just very, from a fan perspective, she's, very good with her delivery. If they ever do bring Sally into the movie continuity, all I ask is that you respect her character just as you've done with the characters that have been brought in, because I feel like Knuckles finally has been redeemed.
Thank God.
Because, I'm sorry, the buffoonery of Sonic Boom, and to be fair with Sonic Forces in the game, I don't think he was portrayed as stupid as such, but in the game, he had the rug pulled out from underneath him, and it's like, oh, Amy's automatically the leader, Knuckles is the idiot again, and I'm like, why? Because the way Idris portrayed it is essentially how Knuckles was in the beginning. He's intelligent, but he just doesn't have a lot of social awareness. He's all about honor, prestige, and being noble, but he doesn't understand concepts like sarcasm and what have you. He's still learning. So that'll be fun to get to. I don't know if there's going to be any inappropriate things to see from Spider-Man 2, but chances are if I go over it with a magnifying glass close enough, I'll find something. Although, interesting thing, apparently rating-wise, Spidey was originally about 15 minutes away from being a 15. What specifically it was that would have pushed it over from 12 to rated 15, I don't know. They wouldn't say specifically. I did notice during the rain-soaked scene, some bits of Kirsten's anatomy were showing through her dress, which is like, oh. Like, okay. But I think the thing is with 12 or PG-13 for you guys, there are some things you can get away with. Like, you can have the shot of someone in their birthday suit, but as long as the rear is only shown, because we've seen this from Jim Carrey twice in both Ace Ventura movies. And the actress who played the love interest of Kevin Costner's character in Waterworld, that scene I don't mind. I just want to forget the rest of the movie because I like to pretend Waterworld didn't happen. And it was like at the time.
Yeah, I was trying to forget that movie.
It was like the most expensive movie made at the time, and probably most expensive loss. I think it was Universal who did that one. So I don't know. I feel like how do I say this? I feel like with tongue-in-cheek moments in the Spider-Man movies, they do it in a way whereby there's an innocence retained with it. You know, you see these moments happening where there's romantic, but it knows what boundaries to stay within. You know, not unlike the James Cameron version where we would have seen a web-up scene on the top of the Brooklyn Bridge with Parker and Mary Jane getting their freak on. Because here's the thing. I like to see romantic moments in a superhero movie, but to the point where it's more like, no, ain't that sweet, rather than, okay, I need to close the blinds a second. I shouldn't be looking at this. I mean, that'd be like imagining Hulk and Betty. You can connect the dots on that one. And there's lids like suppressing. That's fair. Again, it's just finding that balance whereby it's romantic innocence. Like, not an example. You love the romantic scenes between Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. Yeah, there's love there, but you know that it's charming. You know, they don't go too far. They don't go far with it. Whereas I understand Jerron Garber's perspective with Batman v Superman, where you're seeing Clark stepping into the bath with Lois, and it's just like, all right, we don't we don't need to see the act happen, but it's just the implication of it, you know. Whereas with Superman 2, it's just like, yeah, they have, but you don't see the build-up, nor do you see the act in motion, and what have you. So, yeah. Whereas with the original Daredevil movie, Murdoch and Elektra's like, oh no, they just go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like to pretend that movie didn't happen either. Minus the soundtrack, though, because the soundtrack's decent.
Oh, the soundtrack's great.
Yeah. Alright. Let's see. I think we'll probably do one more topic, and then I think we'll call it a day. Because, you know, we're going over time as is, but I think, you know, one more is necessary. I'll just quickly read a comment just to see if Sean said anything else. I enjoy. It's like, as long as a certain smeghead doesn't intervene saying you're using my character, he'd be lucky just to get a footnote. What Sonic 2 got right and wrong? Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and we cannot wait for the next one. In the meantime, here's a look at what it got right and what didn't. The first Sonic movie was a delightful joyride, fun, colourful, and showcasing a brilliant cast. It set a new standard for video game adaptations. It has flaws, but it's enjoyable, and the creators did a great job portraying some of the best parts of the Sonic franchise. Considering that the artist completely redesigned Sonic by popular demand, there's no denying that the film was created with respect for the fans. Sonic 2 is followed by a very similar suit. There were definitely parts of the movie that could have been changed or even cut altogether, but the whole thing was exactly what you would expect from a Sonic feature: over-the-top, silly, action-packed, and impossible not to smile at. Now that we have a third movie already in the works, this is our chance to look at what direction the franchise should go in. Here's our analysis of Sonic 2, what the movies need to change, and what they're already doing right. Every scene with the gang was like fireworks. Whether you're a long-time fan of the games or a newcomer, seeing any combination of Sonic, Tails, Knuckles together on screen is magical. Ben Schwartz, Colin O'Shea, and Idris Elba have fantastic chemistry, and watching their characters interact is too much fun. Everyone is just right. Sonic is a fun-loving kid with a wild streak, Tails is an intelligent, lovable techno geek, and Knuckles is a lovable, bull-headed frenemy. Oh, a bit like Paige and AJ Lee.
In a sense, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, funny thing. I do like one time where the Bellas were trying to like drop a pipe on them, and Nikki Bella says, "Oh, you're so painful. You just want to be like us." And I like how Paige and AJ just look down their chest, going, "Nah, we're good." Probably a bit too adult, but it had to be done. Plus, unlike yours, Bella's, Paige and AJ's are actually real. Just saying. I tell it like it is, and I'm not sorry. Watching them join focuses near the end callbacks to those giddy feelings you first got with Sonic Heroes. Sonic Heroes I'm a bit 50-50 on. And the baseball at the end is a prime example of the wholesomeness. The whole trio was definitely the best part of the entire film. The human characters could be better. I did get that sense watching what little clips I've got. It's like, yeah.
They weren't too bad, but they half and half. They kind of did overstay their welcome.
Yeah.
Fans of the franchise know that things tend to be OTT, often to a cliched and unlikable degree. This is especially true for human characters, and Sonic 2 is no exception. Not everyone is likable. In fact, Tom and Maddie have great chemistry with each other and with Sonic, and the way they refer to him as their kid is very endearing. That being said, many of the human characters felt like a bit compared to their alien CGI counterparts. Rachel's intense personality is now more like a caricature of an angry woman. I did get that impression. The patrons of the Lonesome Tavern in Siberia came off as stereotypical, yeah, even with the trailer you could get that. And and the GUN's agency incompetency level feels very forced. The Sonic team's exploits would even be more impressive if the world around them was believable and posed a bigger challenge. Robotnik was just as entertaining as ever. It's Jim Carrey, what did you expect?
Yeah.
Carrey as Robotnik is one of the best casting choices in recent history. The way he actually looks more the part now with that mustache. The way he attacks the role of a hyper-intelligent, deranged scientist is a treat for everyone in the audience. He's kooky and witty and wholeheartedly embraces the insanity of the Segaverse. Oh, so that's what we're calling it now. It may be different from the original lore, but this seething hatred for Sonic makes sense within the context. His portrayal of Robotnik in Sonic 2 takes the crazy up about 10 notches after his exile to the Mushroom Planet. But
Mushroom coffee!
but he peppers the performance with bits of sass and wit that ground this character just enough. He's a total diva. Again, it's Carrie, take it for what it is. A complete dork and the coolest bad guy ever in one comprehensive package. Does he at one stage pull along John Baldry and extend his R's?
Not that
I won't say that.
Okay.
I won't say that, but he did change. He did change up his gear. That's the closest we'll get.
But they should stick with their decision not to recast. When Kerry announced his plans to retire after Sonic 2, the world shed a tear. As a result, producers Neil H. Moritz and Toby Asher promised not to recast his character with anyone else. This choice is wise for multiple reasons. Kerry's a fan favourite, and recasting probably wouldn't sit well with the franchise's target audience. Also, Robotnik's death will actually have some weight if he doesn't pull an Eggman Ex Machina. Very clever. And somehow miraculously survive being smashed by his own machine. Furthermore, his leave would give other villains a little more time in the spotlight. As long as the creators don't change their minds, the saga is in great shape for even more interesting sequels. The continuity was surprisingly good. Little things add up, and both Sonic movies got their P's and Q's in order. From foreshadowing the Master Emerald on Sonic's map to Tails' introduction in both films, all the intricate details come together and make sense. Sonic even named Donut Lord in his phone contacts, and Tom likewise uses the original Green Hill Zone as his ringtone. Plus, the way he uses rings as a consistent theme is priceless. But the wedding got too much screen time.
Yeah.
As stated earlier, the best parts of the sequel were the scenes that focused on Sonic, Tails, Knuckles. Unfortunately, most of their screen time was diminished because the directors played too heavily into Rachel and Randall's wedding. Rachel is mostly used as a hostile foil for Tom, which, by the way, that's getting old. And there just wasn't enough time for viewers to invest in their relationship. Their love story was like a way to make their characters more empathetic, given that they're both tertiary antagonists, but the directors could have cut most of the wedding sequence and given us more of the Sonic team instead. Bringing Shadow in is an amazing choice. The mid-credit scene that introduced Project Shadow and gave us a glimpse of the namesake anti-hero was positively thrilling. Both Sonic movies are awesome, and there's no doubt that Shadow will further enhance the series. There are already fan theories circulating the internet on who should play him, and we could be more excited to see who joins the roster. But we want to see even more canon characters. For some strange reason, there's a commercial playing in the background. Alright, that's gone. Excellent. The films should definitely keep introducing more canon characters. Sonic the Hedgehog is revered by fans everywhere, and everyone has their favourite, from prevalent characters like Amy Rose and the adorable Chows to lesser-known characters like Tikao and Fang the Sniper, or Knack the Weasel in other parts. There's enough room for everyone to appear in the Sega-verse.
Not so with Tikal because of a certain someone.
Really? He just does not know when to leave alone. Okay. Alright. Looking at the screen here, we say Shadow and Rouge are likely to come in next because what if, Rouge inadvertently comes through and she happens to help a GUN agent out and starts watching her back. So basically, let's just say we get a character that's called Emily Topaz, giving a nod to that implied sisterhood friendship, and there were times where it was kind of implied there was a thing going on between them. Make of that what you will. So she gets brought into GUN as an agent. Amy, the fans are gonna bitch from either side. Fans that hate her and the fans that want her, and there's the fans that are like, we're okay with her brought in as long as she's done right. I think the only other characters you could bring in after that, because we're going to get to a situation eventually where Tom and Maddie will either have to make an extension to their house or just move house, full sail, because, well, if Sonic is seen by GUN again, he's going to get captured, and we don't really want to see that. I think if you bring them in little and often, so let's just say, for the sake of discussion, it's 2 to 3 characters per movie. I mean, with the first movie, they had a limited budget, and Sonic and Robotnik's egg drones were the only things they could bring in because that's all they could afford. Then fine. Sequel comes in. Bring, the first movie did decent money, so like, okay, you get more money this time to work on it. I think for the third movie, because if they're planning to do the Space Colony arc, which I've got a funny feeling they will, if they're going to do space scenes, do like they did with Sonic Adventure 2's graphics, because that still holds up. I mean, if you just tweak it a little bit and just make an HD conversion, that'll look fine. If they say if they did a 20th anniversary of Sonic Adventure 2 last year, if they had done it, in HD, that would have looked great. I think the only ones you could bring in next, bring in Silver, but not adapt Sonic 360. Just do something completely different, and then maybe bring in Blaze. But I feel like if you bring in Big, it's just going to get silly.
Froggy, where are you?
Okay, dude, you do that way too well.
Somebody at work said the same thing.
Because I feel like if you bring in the Chaotix, it's going to get overcrowded. So if I had to narrow my choices down to, say, 5 characters to bring in, Shadow and Rouge, because that's obvious. Amy, if she's written properly, that'll be fine. Who's another character that they could bring in?
Blaze?
Yeah, Blaze would be good. And the last one, if it was up to me, no restriction, have any character I want, you already know who I'm going to bring in. Sally Acorn. But I'd actually like to see... how to word this? Use the Satam incarnation as the base template, but have her character represented in a way where it's kind of like a Mulder and Scully situation between her and Sonic. It's just like, it teases the audience. Lids might know what I'm talking about. Like how in Angel, he befriends this police officer, and then you feel like there's this spark between them, but they don't make it feel like in the beginning, before it all fizzled out, there was kind of like that, are they? Because you didn't know quite if they were going to have them as an item, if they weren't going to have them as an item. I'd like to see them play not fast and loose, but, have fans guessing. Because the actress in question she was actually a good actress. And I didn't see them, I didn't see this coming when they paired Angel with Cordelia. I'm like, okay. It's like, that was a little unexpected.
Don't get me wrong, I didn't mind that, to be honest.
And I think it helped at that time. The character in particular had actually grown and matured as a person, because she wasn't the high school socialite just, crapping on everybody for the sake of it. It actually felt like, even to that last moment where she's helping Angel, and then he gets that phone call saying she passed away without ever waking up. I'm like, oh, that's hard. That, I suppose it felt like closure for some fans, because it made you think, was she actually there, or was that actually her subconscious appearing in physical form? I don't know. And of course, she was only in for like a guest part, because did she leave due to creative differences? And of course, if Joss Whedon's involved, you don't need to be a genius to figure that one out. Like I say, I like it where, if they could do that with where it's teased rather than just go straight up, because with Amy it'd be like, oh, Soniku, and it's just like, girl, get away. Like, there's a reason why we have these things called restraining orders. I mean, that'd be like, well, I've lost count the amount of restraining orders Sheldon had in The Big Bang Theory. The fact that he had one with Leonard Nimoy was like, oh, that's one of your idols, dude. It's like, that's gotta hurt.
And then one later from Stan Lee.
Such a freaking idiot. But I'll tell you this much, because I watched the episode where it was his birthday. I'm glad the fact the studio were able to get Adam West for the episode. And by that point, you don't really hate Sheldon. You just feel like, you have that annoying friend where it's just like, you know what? I've given him a lot of crap recently. He deserves a little bit of a reprieve. And the fact that he got, Batman to show up at his birthday, I'm like, you know what? Let him have this one. Because, let's put it this way. If Adam West was still with us, we do, dude. We do miss you. Wouldn't it? If you got to be like some dinner party, and then Raiden suddenly, just looks over to her right, and he's just like, Adam. And he's just like, can't get the words out. But then, if all of a sudden he sees Wesley Snipes walking his blade, he'd be like, someone catch me, I'm gonna faint.
Yep.
Or for Lids, she's at a party and all of a sudden Alison Hannigan walks in full Willow mode. Nice Willow, not Dark Willow. Dark Willow, no.
Yeah, she's scary too, but in a different way.
Yeah, terrifying.
If Alison walked in, she'd be like, Can I have it? Oh, you want a selfie and a hug? Be like, let's be like, okay, I'm going to behave myself. It's like, just awkwardly like, Alison Hannigan's hugging me. I don't know what to do. Or for Steve, if he, met David Tennant, it'd be like, hello, doctor. Like, are you alright? Yes.
Ironically, you say that, but I did meet him before.
Answer me this. Did you have, that sort of star-struck moment where you're like, it's the doctor?
Yes. Very much so, yes.
I had a similar thing. I was at a Knight Rider convention 12 years ago, and I just stepped outside, just to get some fresh air. And I'm hearing somebody's voice coming from my left. I look over to my left, and I see Rebecca Holden. I'm like, and I'm just trying to catch her. It's like, and she just looks over and goes, oh, who's this young man? I'm like, April Curtis is talking to me. Don't say nothing stupid. Don't say nothing stupid. Don't say nothing stupid.
Too late.
I think you're pretty. Damn it.
And then kind of reminds me when I saw Peter Cullen going back to his signing table, and I just ended up saying, Hi, Peter, and he just said, Autobots, roll out!
Similar moment, I met Mike Chaffee properly at Knight Rider Reunion, and I think I've said this once or twice before. Not only did he design the original kit, he actually helped work on the DeLorean from Back to the Future. And
awesome.
He is one of the most humble, approachable. He's one of the sweetest guys you'll ever get to meet, because he made time to go say hello to everyone. He wasn't afraid of asking too many questions. He treated all the attendees and all the fans like they all mattered, and that's how it should be. Even when we're at our restaurant table, just eating and chatting away, he comes over and just talks to us for 5 minutes just to see how we are, and I'm like, wow. It's like, this guy is part of some of the most iconic things in Hollywood, and he keeps his feet grounded, and I'm like, I like that. Don't see that with too many other people. But yeah. We'll go quickly round the table. Steve, if you had to choose your 5 characters that you would see in future Sonic sequels, who and why?
I'd have to say pretty much the 2 ones from Sonic Adventure 2. Well, we know we're getting Shadow. Rouge, Amy, if she's done right.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see Blades, because there's a character that's not really featured as much.
She is kind of downplayed.
Yeah.
So, Shadow, Rouge, Amy, Blaze. Who would your last one be?
I know this may be a bit controversial, considering the game is not well received, but considering they've introduced the idea of multiple worlds, but maybe for a different kind of spin-off in terms of the Sega-verse, but Black Doom.
Okay. If done right.
Considering they said that the Echidnas and the Owl and whatever Longclaw were like guardians, what were they guarding the Emerald from?
You do pose an interesting question. Yeah, it does make you think.
I know it may be a bit, considering the whole history of that game and how it kind of took everything that came before and put it in that game. Seeing how they've been able to work Gun in Sonic Adventure 3, well, Sonic Adventure 2. Oh, well, I'm getting confused. It's late.
Either way, they got introduced into a 2.
Yeah, while also still tying up plot elements from the previous Sonic games and Sonic Knuckles. The writers made it work. So in a way, why not? You could make Black Doom work in that way, but maybe tie it in with the fact that he was the ancient evil that the Guardians of the Master Emerald were trying to stop.
That's a good point.
Maybe going a bit far out there, but they've tied in a lot of the previous Sonic lore in.
What I find interesting, particularly the way the design for Shadow was unveiled, is that it looks like a real sentient being in 3-dimensional form, but at the same time you look at it and go, oh, that's Shadow. As you say, with Blaze, very underutilized and underappreciated as a character, so I would actually like to see what more... Oh, I'm just reading a couple of stuff from Sean. Well, since Gunn has got things done right, well, if they give us Sonic Saturn Robotnik played by Willem Dafoe, don't ever do that. No. Actually, I can imagine him with a mustache.
He did draw that way too much.
I know Donut Lord is going to punch the boss of Gun for harming... Yup. Sean says, if we see Sally's dad, he needs to sound like Tim Curry. Yes, he must, because Tim Curry was actually the voice of King Maximilian Acorn.
It'd be a nice little Easter egg there.
Yeah, it's real shame what happened to Tim Curry when he suffered his stroke, because such a talented guy, you know?
Yeah.
Although in Home Alone 2, you just wanted to punch him. Especially with that
I love you.
Like, you've been smooching everybody. Jigs, Bodie Bob, Cliff. It's a lie. Oh, dear. Madam President, which 5 would you choose?
What was that?
I said, Madam President, which 5 would you choose?
I can hear you. Okay.
It's...
Sorry, what was the question?
Which 5 would you choose to bring in for future sequels?
Well, if we're talking about, like, for the next one, I could definitely, besides Shadow and Rouge, I can't really think. I don't know. I honestly can't think of anyone. Maybe at some point Biggs the cat can show up. I don't know. just again, also bring Amy in there. But since again, it feels like Tom and his wife are just adopting these animals. I think I could see Amy getting adopted, but again, everybody's just treating her like the little sister, and that's how we can quell the whole yandere kind of bullshit. It's like, Sonic, like, dude, you're like my sister. Squash that real quick, but other than that, I can't really think of anything right now, and I'm not as well versed as everybody else with the Sonic characters as much. It's just, I think Oni has to teach me a lot of shit like that. But if I could think of that off the top of my head, it'd be those characters. I can't really think of that right now.
I can imagine Oni being like, "You want to know about Sonic characters? Yes. Boil some coffee. We're gonna be here a while."
It'd be like, get out of my bed.
It's like, you imagine, like, can we get Domino's and lattes? Can I get garlic bread? Yes. Make it so.
Okay.
Raiden, what characters would you bring in?
Well, not only Shadow and Rouge, but honestly, I would bring in Team Chaotix. Vector, SBO, and Charmy. I don't know. I found them pretty funny in Sonic Heroes, and it would be cool in like a B or C story. I think they'd find their way into our world. They would probably start up a detective agency. It would go nowhere. I don't know. They would probably cross paths with Sonic in his battle with Shadow.
Well, they have rings. They've established that to travel between worlds is possible with the rings.
Yeah, I think it would. I think they would have. Although they definitely have rings, it would just be like I would think they would have an accident because their detective agency in their word is not working that well. So maybe the other world they see how good detective work is going good there, so they try their hand there. They would fail every time, and I don't know. Maybe the climax they probably get a profit. I don't know. Something by the line of that. I think that would be funny. Also, I think I'm becoming a big fan of Vector.
Gotta find the computer room.
I was about to say, as long as Vector's done right, it's fine. But
Who
as
would
as
make
we
a good voice for Vector?
who would? Good question.
Let's say probably Bill Burr.
Oh, really?
Oh my God, the stuff he would say. It'll be family oriented, but still, I think he would make a pretty good actor.
Yeah, just don't get the ones they had from the most recent years, which effectively turned him into a walking meme. Because after a while, that got old, especially like, find the computer. And it's like, yes, we get it.
Almost. Yeah. Although for some reason, when we were discussing their characters, for some reason I'm just imagining Big coming through a ring portal and just say, "Excuse me, has anybody seen Froggy?"
Yeah. Oh boy. I think it's like anything. They don't want to bring in too many characters too quickly, because otherwise, as you say, we'll end up having a situation tantamount to Spider-Man 3, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. You could make the argument they did that with Batman Forever, but I felt like Riddler and Two-Face managed to balance themselves out. So, I don't know. Sean also says characters from Fleetway and IDW comics would be interesting. Whisper would be an interesting choice. I'd like to see Tangle, because I feel like she kind of embodies Sally to a subtle degree. The Fleetway characters, Techno the Canary, really well done. Possibly Short Fuse the Cybernick. He also says if they do Sonic Colors, Whisper the Wolf would go well since she uses wisps. Yeah. It's like anything. You can sort of play fast and loose with this just to see, what works.
Turns out, in terms of what story they want to go for and which characters would suit the tone of the story that they want to go for.
I feel like, Sonic 3 is obviously going to be an adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2, but I feel like Sonic Adventure 4, because we know they're going to do it, if it makes money, they'll bring it in. You gotta bring in Metallix. He's an iconic antagonist that Robotnik he's been brought back multiple times in the comics, especially IDW, because he is probably one of the greatest foes that Sonic has ever fought, because the character only does what he's programmed for. And in this context, Sonic is John Connor and Metallix is the T-800. All he's programmed to do is kill. And he does it with little to no emotion, and with the exception of the Sonic OVA, the character never utters a line of dialogue. In the Fleetway comic, yeah, he does talk, but from what we've seen of him in the games and in the IDW comic, he doesn't utter a single word. And that's an interesting character because, yes, you are restricting certain things by not having dialogue, but you can do so much when a character doesn't speak. I mean, if you look at the way Marina was characterized in Stingray, this is a character that has no line whatsoever, with the exception of Raptures of the Deep, where she's communicating with Troy telepathically, and this is all in a dream. But there are so many interesting ways you can get a character to show emotion just by their face and just by their body language, their the use of their bodies and what have you. There was one comic book story where Stingray's like transporting this very this new element to somewhere out in the sea, and it gets to a point where Marina is actually piloting Stingray, and to where she's having to to tend to Troy and Phones' injuries, and she actually provides a written report just to let them know what has happened. So in terms of Metallics, it'd be interesting to see how he will actually communicate, whether it's done electronically by providing reports from his CPU to someone else's computer and what have you. I don't know. You can play interesting with it, but be intriguing to see what they come up with. And I think on that note, we'll call it a night, because we've gone over time, but you know what? I'm effectively on time off, so I'm enjoying the time off that I've got. Thank you to my co-hosts, and also to special guest Odi Rakaku, Twitcher extraordinaire. Give him bits, give him subs, give him enough subs to where, I don't know, he can buy Lid's a lifetime pass to BuffyCon.
Yes, please. If there is a BuffyCon.
Or buy a PS5.
Yes, let's save on that.
And also make BuffyCon a thing. Make it happen. And
if that isn't not a thing, it better be.
And what do I get? You get to be on the board of directors at WWE. Really?
Don't not give that man that kind of power.
Well, Mr. Rakaku, what is your idea for creative? Oh, I have notes. Everyone's like, oh dear.
First of all, you're fired. You're fired.
And effectively, we're going to be writing Roman Reigns off TV forever. But he's my boy. Yes. We know about the creepy things that you like. Just let's not bring this into this board meeting. Right. We're going to bring back the hardcore title. We're going to combine the women's titles into one, because neither of them mean a thing. If you make it one, you make it good for all. But keep the women's tag team titles. And we're going to bring Triple H back in charge of NXT. And we're firing Kevin Dunn.
Let's fire Kevin Dunn, Bruce Pritchard, John Laurinaitis. It's like...
Yes.
Take your pick on who's the most sleaziest.
Mm-hmm.
And we're putting Triple H in charge of creative. Triple H is like, evil Grinch smile. Really?
Not too much control, sir.
Oh, and we're also going to have Stone Cold Appreciation pay-per-view. It's like... Austin opens a beer can, just sits at the table. Go on.
It's specifically on March 16th, every day. Every March 16th, there's a Stone Cold pay-per-view.
And we shall also have... Every time Corey Graves opens his mouth, we tell him to shut up.
Yeah.
Also, is King back? Because I was listening.
Actually, Graves did came back last week. King was there for a bit because he was busy with wedding with Carmella.
Because I was tuning into one clip from Raw, and I'm like, Wait, Lawler's here? It's like, I thought he was gone from commentary. Oh well. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the enjoying the longer show, and like I say, technical difficulties with the next 2 Spider-Man reviews will be resolved. So I've been the Knight, saying good night from the night.
Yay!